Welcome to episode 2. It is now October, so that means
we're covering September.
We're finally get to cover September, and there's a couple games that came out that you might have heard of, and I'm looking forward to talking to them, talking about them.
There's not many.
Yeah, not compared to August, which our first episode covered. That was nuts. Lot of hype.
Hype is a
It's
factor.
looking like October here is going to be something along the lines of August, and then November will be kind of slow again with the holidays. So, wonder why that happens. What do you think?
That's how game development works. Honestly, over the past, I'd say 5 years, we've seen that the November kind of holiday game rush has softened out and kind of turned into also like a spring game rush, and now it's just this half a year where it's just all these huge games come out.
Yeah, you get this period right when school starts. That's when all the games come out. And then the closer you get to the holidays, the less games come out. So once Odyssey comes out, really nothing groundbreaking or mind-blowing is going to be out for the holidays.
Have all of... The thing that November has held, no matter what, is it holds all the big multiplayer shooters. Pretty much, you know?
Yeah, so Call of Duty and Star Wars Battlefront are the two games.
Isn't there another one
November.
this year? I think we're getting Doom and Wolfenstein for Switch this year in November.
No, Wolfenstein for the Switch at least comes out next year.
Right. Doom comes out this year, though. We have all the big third-party shooters normally come out that time of year for the Christmas grabs.
Very strange, very strange.
Yeah.
So this is the Red Leaf Gamecast. That is the name we've officially gone with.
Yep.
Drew, you convinced me that Modern Gaming Edition is too long.
My issue is that no. It's not a retrocast. It's a games cast. You know, so why not just call it?
We are just keeping up with the times. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Exactly. We got to keep up with the cool kids.
Yeah, the cool kids. Well. The good news is episode 1 did extremely well, which is why we're here for episode 2.
Yeah.
So we at least got a few more in us.
If anything less, we would have
just
just kind of forgotten about each other.
No, this is good. I quite enjoy it. I've been really playing a lot of modern games lately, although I did get some games at my retro game store here in Toronto. Probably the last time I'm going to go. I found a Sega Master System game called Asterix.
Nice.
I've never seen it physically before, and I've been searching for it for a long time. It goes for $80 to $100 online. It's very rare, and they had it at the store for $50, and I went, that is mine.
So you're going to play it and then coin it off, or?
No. Are you kidding me?
Sorry. I think moolah, I don't think ooh, this is a really good piece of plastic. I'm going to get money.
I get games to play them, and then have my friends play them, and then I have memories of playing it, and then I play it again later when I forget about the game again.
That's sentimental.
I'm a very sentimental person, yeah.
I can tell. Alrighty. Well, what are your sentiments with Destiny 2? What are you going to remember about it in a decade when you're talking to your children?
Well, I don't want to get into the games just yet.
Oh, okay. Well, what are we hitting first?
I will give a hint. I will forget the game exists.
No. Alright. That's fair. Next game.
Oh, boy.
No.
But I've also gone on a kick of playing old, text and point-and-click adventure games.
Oh, yeah. It's whenever I try and hey, J.E., come play Fortnite. He's like, I'm searching through the weeds with my trident. And he's
I'm
talking
going
to
through
himself.
the forest. Yeah, well, so what I've been playing is I've kind of been going through and playing all the King Quest games from Sierra and Space Quest, also from Sierra. Are you familiar with Sierra, Drew?
I know what it is, but I'm not familiar with it, per se.
So Sierra was kind of the pioneers in the whole text and point-and-click adventure games on the computer in the late 80s.
Right?
And the first King's Quest game is pretty rough. I believe that came out in 85.
Right.
And for those that don't know what a text-based adventure is, you use the arrow keys to move the character, and once you press, say, left or right or up or down, the character will continuously walk until you press the arrow again. That's how you stop him. kind of different controls.
It's like tank
But
controls.
And then the way you interact with everything is through text. So you go into a new screen, and you immediately click Look Area.
Which would, by the way, anybody else who has not played this game, I am just as confused as how that is a game mechanic. Because you can type in anything. I don't know how I'm supposed to know what words are supposed to go in for the game to keep going. And I find that so confusing.
So I played King's Quest first on my little. I wouldn't call it a quest, but it's definitely what I'm in the mood for playing right now.
It's more like a King's
mission. And it took definitely a little bit to understand how the phrasing works in a lot of it. So whether it was because I was like, look at all the trees. Okay, you can't do that. You have to really simplify what you want to do, and really you got to think outside the box for what you want to do. And yet keep the phrases simple. So, for example, you might see a hollowed out tree on one screen. And you're like, "Oh, that looks interesting." So walk up to the tree. What would you say? What would your phrase be? The tree looks hollowed out.
Put head in tree hole.
Okay, it would say, "I don't understand hole."
Damn right it doesn't.
What would your neck? Yeah, so that's where the funny phrases come in.
Put head in crevice.
I wouldn't understand crevice.
Put head inside of genitals.
I don't understand.
See, this is the issue with these games. They don't understand. So
you're not simplifying enough. So what you would do is go look at tree, and then maybe text would come up that say, the tree appears to be hollowed out. Oh, and there's a hole to your right. So you would maybe reposition your character slightly to the right, and you go look in hole.
So the game does know what a hole is.
Well, the way you would phrase it, it might. If you get too complicated with it, if you don't simplify it enough, that's when kind of the primitive program can't quite keep up with you.
Maybe I'll try streaming one of these games one of these days, just to beat my head against the wall.
The text adventures are definitely a learning process.
Yeah.
So when you look, let's keep this scenario going. You look in hole. It would go. Main character's name is Graham. You go. Graham looks inside the hollowed out tree hole, and there appears to be something shiny at the bottom. Right. So you would just type in then. Take shiny or take object.
Take shiny.
you have to use the words that the game is using. So if the game said there's a shiny object at the bottom of the hole, or there appears to be something shiny at the bottom.
So here's my thought.
You would say something like take shiny, reach into hole, put hand in hole. Take object, you would say things like that, and then you would then finally get something that would say, Graham takes the object, and it appears to be blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then you would proceed to then go to your inventory, see the object, it would describe the object for you, and perhaps if it can be opened, you would say, open object, or, whatever item that is. Maybe there'd be something inside. So it's all part of the process, and you go to each screen doing things like that. Meeting the occasional character or escaping from a certain enemy, and whatever the enemy or person seems to be, you would use the objects accordingly, and you kind of have to think outside the box with that. Like, for example, in the first King's Quest game, there's a troll on a bridge. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you need to do to get past a troll on a bridge?
You need to go under the bridge.
You can't go under the bridge, you die.
You need to just murder the troll.
Okay, so you would get a dagger in the game, and you would say, kill troll. Well, the troll's too big. He overpowers you. You're dead. All right? So you got to kind of think of, at least in these beginning King's Quest games, you think of kind of funny, whether it be nursery rhymes or old fairy tales. It's like troll on bridge. Okay, trolls give you riddles, or they want it's a toll bridge, so maybe give them money of some kind or some object of worth.
I do want to ask
how you get
though.
Past him.
What did Graham find in the tree genitals? The shiny thing? What was in the shiny thing?
The scenario I was doing is there was just a pouch.
Just like an empty pouch?
I believe, if I remember correctly, that particular pouch had money inside.
That works, I guess.
So that kind of implies some traveler hid a pouch of money inside the tree.
You know what other game has a traveler?
Space Quest?
Destiny 2!
No, I played a real space game. And it's
Destiny
called Space
2
Quest.
has the traveler. That's your big, your religion planet thing. The big space planet that gives you all your space powers. All your RPG powers.
Yeah.
It's a big planet that's on your planet. And then...
So, all I have to do is play King's Quest 3, and the Space Quest series is actually very complicated compared to King's Quest.
Alright.
I have to talk about it, man. I have to talk about it.
Well, this seems something more for your Retrocast, doesn't it?
This is just what I'm playing right now.
That is true. That is what you were playing right now.
And since this is all part of the Red Leaf Retrocast branding, cast branding,
this is an argument now that we have off the cast. This is a piece by piece just demonstration of our arguments. Then what have I been
Space
playing?
Quest? Yeah. Well, let me finish about Space Quest
finish
first.
your space stuff.
Well, there was a cool thing in King's Quest 2 where I looked into an old tree, and it actually it said you start to hallucinate. The king starts to hallucinate, and he starts seeing things from a distant future, and it's a trailer for the first Space Quest game.
Huh.
So Sierra is very comical in a lot, and with each preceding game and what they put out, the comedy just ramps up more and more. So it's a very adventure-based comedy. Space Quest, you're a janitor who gets into these wacky situations where he has to then save the world or his own skin in some wacky way. What makes these games even more complicated is you always seem, at least in my case, I've always seemed to come across something that if I don't pick it up, or so for example in the second Space Quest there's a creature that gets caught in a trap, and I couldn't really figure out the right way to like save the creature. So I thought about it, and I figured I'd just go back and he'd still be hanging there. Well, after a certain amount of time passing, the creature caught just disappears. Well, it turns out when I got halfway through the game, not saving him, he's part of a tribe, and the tribe will then kill me, and I can't get past this one part of the game. So I had to start over basically to the beginning.
What?
And that's how these games kind of because you can beat these games in maybe an hour or two.
Right.
And that's how they make the games longer. Is you learn from your mistakes. Oh, okay, I can't get past this part. I kind of remember there was this guy, this creature was hanging there at the beginning. I didn't save him. Maybe I have to go back and save him. So the Space Quest games are notorious for that.
Gotcha.
And it does happen in later King's Quest games from what I've read. So the Sierra games make you frequently save, and that's kind of where it goes. But man, I'm having a lot of fun with them. I'm definitely getting better at what the game wants, and it's getting me thinking in fun ways that games today just don't do.
Alrighty.
So Drew, what have you been playing?
Besides kind of just the periodical releases this month for a little while, I've just been kind of relaxing, you know. Some Call of Duty Ghost wagers, you know, because why not? It's fun. Gamble a little. Wager matches, just public, you know. You go onto a ladder match site and you post your team, and it's just basically gambling. You all put money in a pot and then you play for the pot. So
is it internet money?
It's real money.
Oh, competitive.
Oh yeah.
See, that's competitive gaming.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, wager
I used
like
to do,
what
I
you
used
have
to do
for
that with
right.
I used to do that with FIFA back in college
nice.
myself.
Well, what you have online for like ladder matches when it comes to especially Call of Duty and a couple other games, you have XP matches, which are just ladder matches that you just play and then you get leaderboard XP. You have wager matches where you can post like $2 wager match everybody puts their money, and then the winners, get the money. And then, there's tournaments. So some wagers for some fun.
Did you win it? Did you win any?
Oh, yeah. You win, you win, you lose. Call of Duty Ghosts is a 4-year-old game. And, they're 100% those people who've been playing the game for 4 years that you're never going to beat. And, even watching, the pros play on streams, they keep running into a couple of those people that have been playing the game for 4 years, and you just can't beat them. Because they see through the map. They just know everything. So, there's definitely those people, but it's fun. I got really hooked on Fortnite just because it's kind of cartoony and fun. It's intense. I've won games on my Xbox, on my PC, and my PS4, so it's fun. I had this really big urge just randomly. I wanted to make a sniper montage. Because I'd never done one.
You were talking to me about
I know. I've always kind of, since I was 13, especially, back in the MW2 days and the older Call of Duties, I always kind of dreamed of making a sniper montage because they were always really cool, And I always kind of brushed it off. I was like, I'm just not that skilled. I can't do that. But then, one day I was just kind of I really do want to because I've always thought they're really cool. So I just started sniping. And I have a couple clips, Maybe by the end of the year I will have a montage, and that would be really cool for me. I'd really enjoy doing that. But just kind of chilling, just waiting for World War II, pretty much. And I did dabble in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta. So
okay, well let's talk about that because that comes out in November.
Yep.
I'm for all disclosure, I am not a Star Wars fan.
I'm not
to
either,
say the
really.
least at all.
I mean, I'm a sci-fi fan. I'm not a huge diehard Star Wars fan, but I've watched the movies and I know the story around. I think it's entertaining, but when it comes to all the sci-fi things, I'd much rather go see the new Star Trek movie than go see the new Star Wars movie. Just because J.J. Abrams and Star Trek I think is cooler than J.J. Abrams and Star Wars, but something Battlefront has done that I think no game has ever really done well enough is be a simulator to a movie. I think when we have all these movie games, or games from movie franchises, they always are just kind of little cash grabs and they're kind of terrible.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Star Wars,
that.
Especially Battlefront 1, the issue with Battlefront 1 is it just didn't have the legs to keep going, but they use this photo symmetry, I think it's called, where they they take photos of the sets and the stuff from the original Star Wars movies, and then they digitize the photos to be 3D rendering. So the graphics are incredible. It looks incredible. The sound design that DICE has done is mind-blowing. And if you put on a good headset, you sit in the dark, and you start playing Battlefront, it is one of the most just immersive, just fun, awesome, shooters you can ever play. Because you feel like a stormtrooper. When you're sitting in, first person in an X-Wing fighter, you feel like you're in an X-Wing fighter. It's just fun. And it's just cool. And Battlefront 2 definitely has fixed some of the issues with Battlefront 1. It's going to have a single-player campaign that bridges Episode 6 and Episode 7 from the Empire's perspective. It's just
right.
And they have some more gameplay, longevity. They have a lot more heroes, a lot more maps, space battles, all kinds of stuff. They have microtransactions, because why not? They have,
of course they do.
They have, the guns apparently feel different now. Because that was a big complaint of the first one. Every gun just felt exactly the same. Now apparently there's a little bit of difference, so it's definitely...
maybe a gun actually has recoil this time around.
Yeah, I mean, they're laser guns. What are you going to do? So...
Laser guns can have recoil.
That's true. I'll probably rent it. I don't know if I'll buy it yet, but, I really am curious about that single-player campaign. It looks cool, so...
I mean, if the single-player campaign turns out to be something, along the lines of, say, a Star Wars movie... Because even during the heyday of a ton of good Star Wars games coming out, during the Xbox and PS2 era, I just never got into it. But who knows? Maybe the big graphical jump will rope me in.
Well, what's really interesting about this one that makes me even more excited than normal is that this... I don't know if you know much about it. Do you know much about the campaign?
No.
So I'll give you the easy synopsis. The campaign begins, you play as a female stormtrooper, and you're a special forces trooper, so you're not a clone, and you're a daughter of one of the generals. but you are basically you're going down onto Endor in episode 6 to help out the fight. You're just going to kind of finish it off, and the Death Star explodes.
Awesome.
So now the Empire is kind of scattered, and the campaign basically bridges what happened between episode 6 and 7, and you follow this female, I forgot her name, but through kind of rebuilding the Empire in shambles and attacking and fighting back the rebels. And we don't know, but it might lead to kind of Kylo Ren's beginning, to Snoke's beginning, to what happened to Luke. Because we've seen in the trailers there's a battle and she confronts Luke, like there's a lot of cool stuff. And it's all from the Empire's perspective, which I find really interesting because it's something Star Wars has never delved into, is making you kind of feel for the bad guy. So
yeah, that actually sounds pretty interesting.
I know, I'm really interested. If you go watch some trailers, it looks...
piqued me, that's for sure.
I know, it looks really interesting. So, I'm definitely curious more than anything. Story trailers look incredible, honestly. I just really would like to jump in and see what it's like. So,
okay.
That's Battlefront,
Are there any there's a lot of hyped games coming out soon and even early next year.
Yeah.
Which was revealed at the Nintendo Direct in beginning of September.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And the Tokyo Game Show was hyping up things. Sure, the Tokyo Game Show has become a big mobile gaming advertisement, it seems.
Yeah.
Because Asia loves mobile gaming, and let's face it, it's here to stay. As much as I personally do not like mobile gaming, I think it's cancer.
Right.
But what's on the horizon for you? Because we got Doom coming out for the Switch and Wolfenstein 2. And you had asked me before.
I asked you, yeah, where are we going to buy either Doom or Wolfenstein or Skyrim on Switch? Because I'm probably going to buy all three. Because I'm just looking for cool games to kind of.
Do you already have these 3 games?
I had Doom on my PlayStation, or was it I don't remember what I bought Doom on, but I got rid of it at one point. I don't have Wolfenstein.
Why'd you get rid of it?
Just because I think I wanted to buy something else, and Doom, it kind of fell off pretty quick. To DLC 3, They just did not. I don't think they read the market. The market was not ready for that yet.
So you're
it's
the first
really
person
good though.
That I've talked to that have said this. Doom is good.
That Doom fell off?
Yeah.
Well, Doom has a very, very cult community, and there are 100% people that are playing it and are like, "This is the best game ever made." But if we're looking at this game as in the public eye as a game that has life, you get a game instantly. If you throw out a new Call of Duty and put that through the year, it has life. People are playing, community's booming, all that. Doom is very, very quiet. It's very quiet, very self-contained. Sure. So it's definitely got a community, but if we're looking at this game as a hallmark of the gaming community, it's not up there.
Okay.
As it would have been years ago. So
you're definitely getting Doom then.
Yeah, because the campaign in Doom is fantastic, and that's something I'd love to just kind of play around, So, 100%.
And have you ever bought or played Skyrim before?
No. I've not.
So this is perfect for you. You are the audience that they want.
I have been eyeing Skyrim for a long time, but my thing, and I even mentioned this to JD because there's another game on this list that I think looks really good, but I'm just not going to play, is I hate sitting down on my couch or my chair and playing RPGs on my console or my PC. I hate it. I find it annoying. I look around, I can go do something else. I always want to play these giant, 100-hour games on mobile or when I'm going around, which is why I loved the Vita, because I played all these huge RPGs, a ton of Final Fantasy games. I played all these big RPGs that I hadn't played that I really wanted to play. And I was doing it everywhere. I was doing it on a plane because I don't want to sit down and just do 100 hours into a Final Fantasy game, because I feel like it's a lot of filler, a lot of, just not great use of my time. So if it's on the Switch,
you're on the end of the spectrum where grinding and leveling up characters isn't so much a stress-free therapeutic experience. You're like, this is annoying. I can't do this. I can using my time doing something better.
Well, dude, don't get this wrong. I like grinding, but I only and maybe this is just me as a competitive person, because like when it comes to Destiny 2, I love grinding because I'm trying to get the upper hand on somebody else I'm going to play against. I'm trying to beat somebody else. When I'm playing against a computer, I just don't have that satisfaction for grinding. Like, sure, I get a cool sword, and then I beat the next boss. It's like, oh, I beat the boss, But but for RPG grinding, do that on a plane, 100% down for it. I passed the time. I enjoyed the time. So.
Well, I definitely want to go back to this because a certain demo came out about RPG grinding. I'd like to talk about in a second.
Yep. Jump into that.
So you had asked me if I was going to get any of these.
Yep.
I'm only going to get Wolfenstein 2.
Did you play
Switch.
Doom?
I did.
Oh, okay. And I assume you played
simple
Skyrim.
As that. Yeah, that was the game in college. I was in college when that game came out, and I got to witness many a person failing tests because they couldn't put it down.
I'm so excited. I just want to point out, because I know everybody's like, why haven't you played it? I am so excited for this game. Because everything I've seen about it looks just fantastic, looks entertaining, looks like that adventure. And that's something I love to play. I just don't want to sit down on my couch and play for hours and hours and hours. So yeah. I am so excited.
I've been asked, like, why am I not an Elder Scrolls fan or Dragon Age fan? They seem like perfect games for me. But there's always been something about the style of gameplay that those kind of games have. You can throw in Baldur's Gate in that sense, Diablo, same sense, where it just seems like I'm. So for the Baldur's Gate and what did I just mention? Lost my train of thought. For the Baldur's Gate and Diablo, that just seems like point at the thing and keep clicking or pressing a button until it dies, and you're not really moving.
My thing is, I'm really just not a fantasy fan. I'm a total sci-fi dude. Fantasy, I just think I get kind of bored with. But there are some worlds, sometimes, that are just intriguing enough. Skyrim looks interesting just because of the adventure, the world, the exploration, the endless kind of stories. The other game that we're talking about, Ys, like Lacrimosa Donna, looks interesting because I'm watching the trailers and there are some of these worlds that just look incredible and I want to see, When we're just talking about that castle and the dragon and the dude with the long beard and some guy with a sword, I just think that's boring. But give me just a basic...
The whole lore and atmosphere just doesn't grab you.
And when people start shouting out these weird names, I'm just like, this is dumb. But throw me on the complete reverse scale. Throw me some dude with a laser gun in space with an alien who's like, the Scimitar door laser holodeck's gonna explode. I'm good. We can do that. But I can't...
Had to throw the southern accent in on that, did you?
Well, when I try and picture like a really dumb, basic kind of just sci-fi just throw out, I think of the Star Trek tie-in movie game for the original rebooted movie. Mm-hmm. Did you ever play that?
No.
It was Kirk and Spock. It was this co-op third-person shooter that was pretty sound, but it was just so dumb. And I played the whole thing because it was cool. And there were some lasers and some aliens and...
Yeah.
Even though I tend to stay away
what doesn't do it for Skyrim is I would totally be into the game if it was a third person's perspective.
You can play it in third person, can't you?
I don't think so.
Skyrim is third person and first person.
The way I always saw people playing it, and
we've also
always
seen
just the arms in front of you, and then that was it.
Well, no, even in the Switch trailers, we've seen third person gameplay. You can play Skyrim in both first person and third person. It's just a lot,
Maybe I'll give it another. Give it another look.
Yeah, I think in communities in general, people like first person more just because it's more immersive or it's cooler.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's the whole fantasy element when it's just plain fantasy. Mm-hmm. For some reason, isn't grabbing me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Dragon
think it's
Age is
I think
very
it's just
much
overdone.
Yeah. Well, Dragon Age is very much kind of that same realm. I don't know. The games never grabbed me, and. Maybe I'll look at Skyrim one more time since it's coming out the Switch, but
I'm 100%.
I just don't think it's going to do it for me.
And amiibo support. I can have a Master Sword in Skyrim and a blue tunic. Like, Yo.
Oh my god.
Yo, sign me up. Like, that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm totally going to just sink hundreds of hours into this game because whenever I'm out on the bout, or I'm on a bus, driving across some place, when I'm on a plane, and I'm just laying in bed and I'm bored, I'm just going to play on my Switch and I'm going to play Skyrim. Yeah. So, it's going to be great.
Before the announcement that Wolfenstein 2 was coming out for the Switch, I wasn't really going to get the game because there's just other games I'd rather get.
Exactly. It was the same with me.
And then all of a sudden the Switch release was announced. I go, oh my god, a mature game coming out for Nintendo? And it's on the new console that I got? What is this itch I have all of a sudden? Oh my god. Because I did play Wolfenstein New Order, and I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I played it with my buddy. I got it for him as a Christmas present one year. And we played it on an Xbox One. I was like, okay, this is cool. I'll play it once, and that was it. Never really felt an urge to buy it myself. Maybe because I guess I felt I already did buy it.
The thing is, I hope these developers start to realize this. You're going to sell more games if you put it on the Switch. You're going to grab a community that you would have never gotten. Like me. I own all the consoles. It's
absolutely insane.
I own all the consoles and a PC. Would have never played Wolfenstein. The new Wolfenstein. Never. It's on the Switch. I will 100% play it.
Yeah.
And that is really important for developers. If they can catch on to that, that is huge for sales.
I think I'm very happy that the Switch is selling and having the success the way it is, especially with Xbox not putting out their own titles.
Yeah,
and Nintendo and Sony still doing that. I hope this turns something on gear-wise for Xbox. I really do, because then that would make everything more competitive.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen kind of
better games would
behind the doors. Pictures of like this new Sony like mobile console, and there's Phil Spencer said, hey, the X-Boy might come back. I'm wondering if the Switch is going to make the area less competitive and it's just going to make everybody release a handheld console. That's what I'm worried about, because I feel like everybody's like, oh, the Switch is popular because it's handheld. Yes, but that doesn't mean we don't like the other consoles. I don't want the Switch.
Yeah, that is something a little bit.
Because if we get
something a little bit worrying.
If we get a PlayStation handheld, an Xbox handheld, and a Nintendo handheld, and then Atari for no reason is like, I have a handheld too. What are we doing? Like, what are we then playing? Because now the market's all competitive on this. We just used to have one small console where we got to play all these mobile games. It was great. But now everybody's competing. I don't want people competing over what I play in bed. I don't want that to happen. So that's why I'm a little bit worried, because I feel like if they crowd that market, then it's instantly going to kill it. So
the good news to see that I kind of thought about this for a little bit as well is how will Xbox and PlayStation react? And yeah, I could totally see them making some sort of Switch version of their own, where it hooks up to the TV and then you can take it with you. It has only a 2 to 3 hour battery life, whatever.
Well, pictures leaked of Sony doing this, but the Xbox, they've never delved into this community, and the X-Boy, they scrapped it back in the day.
I'm absolutely sure. I mean, Sony has had the PSP and the Vita, and they're very successful in Japan, not very successful out here in the West.
Right.
However, the good news is I'm looking at this from a developing perspective. R&D can happen, no problem, right?
Yeah.
Pictures can leak. Who knows if they'll actually amount to anything. Have they started development of this R&D? Absolutely. They'd be stupid not to.
Yep.
That'd just be a bad business decision not to see what they would and would not be capable of. But with these new iterations of PS4 Pro, Xbox, Super Xbox... the Xbox One X.
I just want to pop in on this right now. My PS4 sounds like a Harrier freaking jet. And I'm like...
Oh, yeah, with the more and more new games coming out. Holy crap.
I'm like trying to stream, and I have a side tone in my mic so I can hear my voice so I'm not too loud. And I can't hear my own voice because my PS4 sounds like a helicopter. Like, I'm playing Uncharted 4, and I'm playing, and we're like on the airplane and stuff, and Sully's doing his thing, and I'm like taking off my headset. Like, does the PS4 have speakers, or is this just a thing? Like,
do you have a PS4 Pro?
No, but I'm thinking about getting one. But I'm worried because I feel like if I get a PS4 Pro right now, the PS4 Pro X is going to come out next year.
I don't think so, because
the Xbox One X is better. The PS4 is now going to have this huge ego, and they're like, we have to up it because that is the state of the consoles right now. They release consoles.
Yeah, but the Xbox One X isn't selling because there aren't games for it.
Because it's $500.
The PS4 Pro is selling for the reasons as we're more or less talking about, where the games are coming out and it's really making the original PS4 work hard.
Yeah. And
my buddy has a PS4, and that sounds like a golden goose. And with the new VR, this is what Sony just announced. There's a new VR iteration, little upgrade.
Oh, is there now?
Yeah, and that's gonna take less of a toll on the PS4 Pro as well. So I think the PS4 Pro is here to stay for at least a couple of years, and then maybe we'd start seeing PlayStation's next console iteration. Maybe they'll hold off a little bit more because these new versions of the consoles have come out so recently that it might take 4 or 5 years for a new one to come out. Who knows?
Hold everything. A new trailer for the new Pacific Rim just came out.
Hasn't that been out for a little while?
No, it came out an hour ago.
Oh.
This is a PSA. John Boyega's in a robot movie again.
So going back to the RPG speak and grinding, there was a demo that came out for the Switch that's called Project Octopath Traveler. Have you had a chance to dive into this quite yet?
I looked at the page for like an hour. It was like, should I download it or should I not download it?
You should definitely download it. If you're a fan of the old school, early 90s, mid 90s turn-based or JRPGs, Japanese RPG style,
right,
this game is for you. And it focuses around, and it's called Octopath Traveler because there's 8 characters traveling on different paths and sort of connecting into one big story. Now, in the demo, and I hope they do kind of grind this out, maybe fine-tune it a bit, where in the demo I was this like dancer girl, could call her prostitute all I want, but whatever, or hooker.
Okay.
When I got to the boss battle with her, I had to grind 5 levels at the beginning of the game just to have enough health and gain enough health packs to fight the boss. That's definitely very old school thinking, but I think in today's day and age, I don't want to have to grind 30, 40 minutes, especially at the beginning of the game, to beat him. That's my only gripe with it. But besides that, I was very into the story, I was very into the character, and that's what matters in these kind of games.
There you go.
I wholeheartedly implore anybody to download this demo and see if you are into this kind of game. Because I definitely am. And the demo goes way beyond just that boss battle. You can go across more of the map. There's a little dungeon cave that you can go into that's way above your level that you're currently at. I think that's for something later in the game. And then there's another character you can play. So there's already 2 you can demo. It's pretty cool. And then the Switch came out with a bunch of like indie releases very recently, which you're hyped up for, Drew.
There's definitely a couple. It seems like they're going back and grabbing the games that never hit Nintendo because the Wii U was garbage.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah, Stardew Valley. I'm already forgetting. Stardew Valley, Axiom Verge, Thimbleweed Park.
So what's Axiom Verge?
What'd you say?
What's Axiom Verge?
Axiom Verge is it's a Metroidvania game. It's a complete Metroidvania callback. It's sci-fi, and that it's not that I explain more. It's just legit Metroidvania, and it's really good. Okay, so
I'm gonna look this game
it's like this scientist who ends up in this place, And the maps are really interesting. The exploration's really interesting. The guns are extremely entertaining. The boss fights are really entertaining. It's just a great game. And it came out on PS4 and then the Vita, and it is just a fantastic game.
Oh, it came out on the Vita.
Didn't it win? I'm pretty sure it was winning like Indie Game of the Year last year. Or what, did it come out 2 years ago?
Ooh.
Like
Okay, I'm kind of excited. I'll definitely have to look this
really
up.
popular. That, and what was the other one? There was one other indie game that came out alongside this one that was really popular. I think it was called like Titan. It was that one game that was really only boss fights, but you were this one kid. You had an arrow that you used in a slingshot, but you only had one arrow, and you had to pick up the arrow every time you shot it. And you, if you got hit once, you would die. That was also an incredible game. Really, really good game.
Write that down too.
Really good game. These are both games you would love, by the way, JD. Totally your types of games.
That's what they sound like. I'm gonna have to research these this afternoon then.
Yeah, no, you would love both of those.
My God, I hate you. I hate you a little bit right now.
Because
a game just came out that we'll talk about it more on the next podcast. It's called A Hat in Time.
Yeah,
that's a callback to just straight up old school, like early '90s platforming.
Well, these are definitely Axiom Verge way more than that.
God damn it!
Titan is
okay. Too many games coming out in October. I hate this.
Titan is 100% a very unique game, but it's really good. Both of those games fantastic. I don't know if Titan's on the Switch. I don't even know if the game's called Titan. Let me just look it up really quick.
All right, well then I'll continue talking.
Yeah,
because Stardew Valley came out. That game was incredibly popular. If you've ever played a Harvest Moon game before, then the game's for you. It's Harvest Moon, but more in depth. You know, it's a 2017 Harvest Moon,
and it has a really cool name. Stardew Valley. Okay, so it's called Titan Souls.
Titan Souls.
Titan Souls.
Okay.
This game is so... Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay, this game is so damn good. I cannot... It is...
That's your swear?
I was gonna say... Well, yeah, I can't swear harder than that because it's completely out of context now. It makes... Okay.
That swear is so PG of you.
Dude. Don't even get started with the cussies. Okay?
Oh, God.
No, you would love this game. It might make you really angry.
I'll be. You know what? I gotta get up here and pour myself a fresh cup of David's tea.
It's $15 on Steam right now. If anybody's curious.
Is it on Switch or are you just pulling my?
No. Let me see if it's on Switch. I just brought this game up because I was thinking.
Is it on anything?
Titan Souls platform. I just brought this game up because Axiom Verge. It came out like the same time. It's on PS4, PS Vita, Microsoft Windows, Steam, and Android.
Okay, so I'll have to look it up for the Vita then.
Yeah, it's good. Cool. Axiom Verge is also on the Vita.
Well, if Axiom Verge came out on Switch, I think I'll just get it on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Axiom Verge is really good.
We were talking about the Direct.
Yeah.
The demo of Octopath. Does this sound like a game for you?
I don't know yet. I don't think so. I did not like Bravely Default. I think it's so pretty.
Okay, so...
It's on the Switch, though. So there is a chance that I, in a lull of games, may totally buy this and play it. Which is, again, one of those things that Switch does. If you didn't like Bravely
Default, I'm afraid you probably won't like
I didn't like Bravely Default because I was playing it. I did not really like the 3DS for anything besides Pokemon. But I can enjoy an RPG and I can respect an RPG just for entertainment purposes. I just didn't, I can enjoy anything on a plane.
Flip a coin then, because you've confused me.
I confused. That's again, I want to come back. The Switch makes you buy things and enjoy things you might not really normally enjoy. Because if there's nothing to play, I'll buy this on the Switch. Because it has a good dev team behind it. I know that I understand what they're doing. And I might really enjoy it because I'm sitting on a plane. And if I feel entertained at the end of that plane ride, I think I had a really good time. And it was a good game and worth my time. And I may go back to it. So,
okay,
just saying.
There's only been one real big release at the Tokyo Game Show, or more news, and that was more information on Monster Hunter World.
They need to release Monster Hunter on Switch. They need to.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
It has to happen. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate on the 3DS was incredible. Honestly, It was incredible.
It's going to happen. Why Monster Hunter World isn't coming out on the Switch is probably just because the Switch isn't capable of playing it. Because that game looks ridiculous.
Dude, it would
and
be so
the
good.
more information... And during the Mecha podcast, me and Kevin were talking about this, and we weren't. I wasn't really too sure what I was reading at the time, but now it seems, with the information that's come out, the single player campaign is being made where the entire game is unlocked. So in many previous Monster Hunter games, you have to play online with people to fight certain monsters and progress certain areas of the game. Well, in Monster Hunter World, it seems they're putting in some sort of gaming algorithm where you can go to every part of the game everyone else can, with or without a party, and the monsters will be adjusted to how many people are in your party.
Can I pipe in on this?
So if you're going solo, you can play solo.
I want to pipe in. I want to say that this is an incredible, idea for these types of games. One thing I don't agree with is actually downscaling the monsters to the current level. And I'll give some reasons to that. But I think, especially when you're trying to make these big adventurous games with these giant worlds, when you put these invisible barriers down, it takes you out of the experience. It makes you kind of be like, oh, I have to go do this, this, and that. I think progression is really important in allowing you to progress to certain places and have these cool, scripted events that make the game, awesome. But okay. I think having this invisible progression wall by like, oh, I can go into this forest, but this monster is just going to destroy me. Starting in the town of beginnings, making my way up the ranks, just being able to go anywhere. Because what it does is it makes you stick to the progression that the developers intended, but it also makes you feel like the game isn't on lockdown. That you're not trying, the whole world is there. You just have to grow up to be able to experience it. And I think that is perfect. And I think that is what some of the best open world games have ever done, is allow you to experience the entire world for yourself at the pace you want to experience.
And that's what's always held me back in previous Monster Hunter games. I mean, I have a Monster Hunter game on the PSP. I quite enjoyed it, but there was always many areas of the game that I just couldn't experience.
Yep, because it's all on lockdown.
Because it's all on lockdown. This new thing they're doing in Monster Hunter World. I'm very, very happy for it. I'm very hyped. It might be the first console Monster Hunter game I'll ever get.
I'm never going to get one of those games on console.
This game's coming out on console.
Yeah, I'm not going to get it. I would buy it 100% on Switch. I'm not buying it on console. On my home consoles.
Like, I'm quite excited. I can't believe I'm saying it, but there is going to be a Monster Hunter game that I'm very hyped for, and if any of my friends get it, I will totally play with them.
I'll be looking down on it. I might get it. If there's a crew I know that's playing it that needs a person and it's maybe on sale, I might get it. But it's not a game I'd sit down and put a ton of my own time into. But,
the more that's revealed over it,
this
might be looking at a pre-order game day release type buy for me.
Wow.
That's how hyped I am for Monster Hunter World, and that's kind of where I want to end on our little news and
well, if we want to jump out,
and
I want to say something news-wise, and it's probably this probably isn't gonna even though it's probably not gonna help because it's gonna be this podcast is coming out next week, but nobody knows. Tomorrow is Rick and Morty Day. Only tomorrow, McDonald's is doing Szechuan sauce and Rick and Morty Happy Meals. Nobody knows this, but this is tomorrow. And I know, now you all hear this, you're like, oh, I want to go get Szechuan sauce, but I'm coming from the past, and you're in the future, and so Szechuan sauce was great. Just so you know, it was real good. And I'm also selling my Rick and Morty Happy Meal on eBay for $2,000 if you want it.
Pay for all your games for the next 2 years.
Just saying, that's not coming back, alright? So, alright, let's get into the podcast.
Oh my god. Yeah, we got a good timing on it. I thought September was very interesting with the types of games that came out, especially compared to August. we're gonna dive right into the heavy hitter.
Can I,
guy who came out right at the beginning of the month.
Can I
Go on,
ask
Drew.
that we cover a different game first?
Oh, okay.
I want to cover Ys first.
You want to do that one first?
Yes, because that one's going to be very sided to you because I do not know much about this game. The rest of the games we can pound out together, but let's get Ys out of the way because I do want to hear about it.
Okay, fair enough. I will humor your opinion.
Okay, thanks. It makes me feel all special.
And then after humoring it, which I just did, I agree with you.
Then after humoring my opinion on this game, you're just going to squander my opinion on the next game.
What gives you that idea? So the game we're going to talk about here now is Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana.
Full disclosure,
So
Ys is spelled with a Y. So
it's YS.
YS. So, it's bringing me back to like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where like half the kids at the elementary school, it's like, it's XYZ, and then the other ones are like, it's Xyz, and stupid Japanese names.
Or it could very well be, I wonder how they pronounce this in Germany, because Y is Ypsilon.
In the anime, they say it's Pokemon, not Pokemon.
Pokemon?
Pokemon, not Pokemon.
Alright, well anyways. So, Ys game, how familiar are you with the Ys franchise?
It's nothing.
Or the series?
Nothing. I just watched,
Okay.
I looked into this game today, and I was like, I wish that game was on Switch, because I would play if it was on Switch.
And then I made the comment, everything should be on
Yeah.
Switch.
No, he made this comment.
Okay.
He's like, everything's better on Switch. And it's true. Even though it looks like garbage on the Switch, probably. It's just better.
So the Ys franchise dates back to the late 80s.
84.
And the company that's involved with it is one of the most famous companies that have the company I'm referring to is Nihon Falcom, and what they did was they kind of revolutionized the action RPG adventure. Okay, So think of what Zelda originally was, and then what it became in Link to the Past.
Was it really an RPG?
So,
Has Zelda ever been an RPG?
Yeah, it's an action adventure RPG game. Now, is it an action-adventure JRPG game? No.
Yeah. It's true. Okay.
Yep. So, the first two games I actually have and have played and beaten, and I have those on the Wii Virtual Console, because they came out on the PC Engine Turbo CD. Did you get all that?
Yeah.
Basically something no one had, especially in the West. Okay? The games were really good, but no one played them until they were re-released in the early 2000s. Okay?
Yep.
On the PSP, they were released again on the Vita. I believe there was a PS2 copy that came out. This is when people started playing them. In the 90s, they only had Japanese releases, so very popular in Japan. All right? So there were Super Nintendo games, there was PlayStation. So they were out there. Never got to the West. When Ys 7 came out, I want to say on the PSP, that's when it came out it came out to the West again. It was the first Western release, and it was a massive hit. It sold very well. And this kind of made at least the company realize, oh, there's a market for RPGs in the West again. It was around that time frame. And each game is connected with the same main character. Okay?
It's this really attractive redhead that looks very, very protagonisty.
He's very handsome.
Very protagonist. Very, very protagonist. Reddy got amnesia in the beginning of one of the games and everything.
Oh, okay. So that's another thing. This game is very anime.
It's a JRPG.
It has a lot. It's especially in the early games, they're very trope ridden. There's not a lot of uniqueness to them. All right, that's
All right.
Yeah, that's kind of where
that's a bad review. It's like this game.
No, the early games are like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you look at early Final Fantasy games. It's 4 heroes, go collect a crystal, go in dungeons, you're done.
But it's got a really cool name.
Well, you don't think Ys is a good name?
I think Final Fantasy is cooler than Ys.
All right. Sure.
Maybe if they spell it like EES, it would be a little cool. But
well,
then
that would
like
only work
Easter
in our
eggs
language. In English.
Yeah.
So the red-headed adventurer is Adol Christian. Okay.
That's a cool name.
He's got a cool name, and he always seems to, in every game, he always seems to have the RPG feel where people just kind of gather around him, and you unlock a bigger story arc and plot that some major fate must be overcome. You know, it's RPG to a T. But how else would it be? Is then my question.
You can't. JRPGs have just dug themselves into a hole. You can't get out of that hole. You can try and do something interesting, but you're held by certain standards. The JRPG.
Well, the good news is where RPGs flourish is the story and the characters. As I mentioned in my impression over Octopath Traveler, the gameplay can be tweaked with, whether it's different magic systems, fighting systems, etc., etc. If you're not into the characters and the story involving an RPG, you're not going to sink 40 plus hours into the game. You're going to get bored after like 8 hours. That's where I feel the Tales of series has become. It's just this standard game that gets so tired so fast.
Right.
So now and a couple games came out for the Vita. A couple of Ys games came out of the Vita. Sold well. Mm-hmm. Well enough for the Vita anyways.
That's not saying much.
Ys 8 comes out. And I hadn't heard of this game coming out at all. And it was very under the radar. And I just happened to just click on a review from Polygon. And Polygon gave it a 9.5. And I went, hold the phone. What did I miss? Right?
Yo.
Because you hadn't heard of this at all. You hadn't even heard of the franchise.
No.
So what it is, and I've played the game for over 4 hours. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my standard for all the games on the list here, except one of them.
Right.
I didn't get a chance to play much of. It's very much another Ys game. However, what sets it apart is the extremely fine and simple yet complex combat during fighting.
Right.
So, for example, the camera will zoom in during fight scenes or fight sequences directly behind your character, and it'll stay honed in there. Okay. Yep. You can only have 3 members of a party with you at a time. And I believe I hadn't gotten much into anything else, but from what I read, you can have 2 more, and they're AI controlled, and the AI is actually not retarded.
Right. That's good.
So I assume what I read was there's 3 members and the other 2 are AIs, and you don't actually control them because you're busy attacking with your character.
Right.
And there's a skill similar to like a parry attack. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you dodge or parry at the same time, you essentially stun lock the enemy, and there's a slowdown sequence for them, and then you can attack accordingly after that. And the AI is also capable of doing this, and they actually do it.
Right.
So you could be getting cornered, and all of a sudden the AI jumps in, parries an attack right next to you, which this happened to me a couple times, and I was like, holy crap, that was awesome.
There you go.
And then we ended up switching places, and I attacked the stunlock character, and he attacked the other. So it was, that was awesome.
It sounds
that kind
cool.
of that's the kind of innovative fighting system that you look for, because like you said, a lot of RPGs have dug themselves a hole.
Yep.
But where it even shines even more is the story. Now, you read some reviews, and what did you gather?
Said it was a pretty good game. It's not like they gave it, because it is what it is. You know, you look at the game, and you're like, okay, I know what that kind of game is. They all said the story was intriguing, and it stuck with you, and that's what made the game good. Said like, what makes a game good is the memories it keeps with you. And he said, I will remember the story. And I'm like, all right, there you go. It's probably a good story. Somebody probably dies.
Yeah.
Has a dramatic thing because it was like somebody loved that person. And they got to go fight a dude. And there's some island that has a mystery that looks intriguing. So, you know.
Yeah. So you start out shipwrecked on an island. Adol does. And this is where the anime tropes kind of come in.
Right.
You end up going around the world and you run into a fair maiden who just happens to be taking a bath in the river.
Ooh.
She's washing herself in the river. And he's like, uh-oh.
This is right at the beginning of the game.
Right at the beginning.
Huh.
So they're already butting heads in true anime style. And she joins your party, and it just goes on to a... Right? Well, I mean, they have to rely... There's monsters and shit everywhere. You don't go through an empty world as much. There's always something to keep you active.
So wait a minute, there's monsters everywhere. So, oh yes, we have to be in a party, but I was just out here bathing in the river alone?
She found a safe place. Come on, suspension of disbelief here.
No. It makes no sense.
So they have to... So basically you go through a cave, and that's when monsters show up and you fight them, and she's like, alright, for my own safety, we should probably, team up. At least it'll be easier to fight the monsters than alone, and betters our chances for survival. And that's kind of the whole game, is survival.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They said there's a lot more riding on the main character in this game than...
yes, especially from the 3 games I've played.
Yeah, because they kept saying, like, all the other games, it's just like, oh, he just wants to do cool stuff, but he said there's an emphasis on survival in this game that gives it a little bit of a intense ride.
Oh, yeah. It's... I don't want to go into too much of the story, because even then I haven't experienced a whole hell lot of it, but there's a couple things that happen even in the first few hours that I just don't want to spoil, especially since the game's so new and it focuses so much on the story, and it's very, very... If you're a fan of anime and RPGs, this game is 100% for you.
Why would this game come out on the Switch? It's Japanese.
It's on Vita, PS4, and Steam, so you can get it on the PC.
If I still had my Vita, I would buy it.
Well, get it on Steam then.
I'm not going to play it on my PC.
We'll play it on your laptop.
Oh shit! Is it on Mac? Yo, let me pull this up.
That would be something to look up.
I'm pulling this up right now. If I can get this on my MacBook, I will 100% get it.
It's a game I didn't even know I must have.
Right?
And it's great. I get the Vita version just because it's like $20 cheaper in Canada. So
right.
$30 cheaper actually in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know why there was the price hike.
Do you play any Sword Art Online games?
They're boring. I don't like them.
Oh, okay.
They're grind fests. This game never felt like a grind fest in the first few hours of playing.
Like Last Song was a little bit of a grind fest, and it got boring for that. I thought Hollow Fragment was really good because just the character building you could do at any point in time, I thought was really fun. No,
this game feels more Sword Art Online than Sword Art Online does. Because Sword Art Online does have a story that people are into. It has likable characters. This game just beats it. It beats it so bad. It's not even a contest. Here, I'll post a picture for you of the girl character fighting this like giant crystal spider.
Looks like Asuna fighting the thing from the end of SAO.
Doesn't it? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but they're straight up in the same... It's an ease game that really breaks the mold on what a JRPG is.
$60 for Windows only.
Well, too bad for you.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it.
Maybe you just have to rebuy a Vita.
Maybe. I got my original Vita for $30, so...
Yeah. This game reminded me so much of the new Star Ocean game that came out last year.
What was that one called? Wasn't it just straight Star Ocean?
No, it was Star Ocean, like Faith and something. It had a long time.
I remember the E3 trailer.
But what didn't make that game anywhere near as good as Ys 8 is the environments felt a lot more plain. The combat system wasn't as refined as Ys 8, and the story wasn't as interesting.
Right.
Because I love the Star Ocean games. I absolutely adore them. Because the Ys games never came out in the West, so all we had was Star Ocean.
Right.
And now it just seems like they've flipped in how good they are.
Right.
And I'm so happy. I will be definitely playing this for a long time.
There you go.
And if the story turns out as good as the reviews are saying, then this might be in my top games of the year list when we do that podcast.
That's going to be an interesting one.
It's going to be very interesting. Because I'm the type of gamer that doesn't just go, oh, Destiny 2 came out, that's the best game of the year.
No, exactly. I'm not that person either. And I think it depends on the game. Because are we going to do different sections, like best multiplayer, best blank,
I don't think so. I think we should just argue what the best
games are. So like Destiny 2, 100% not on my list. I'm curious if the new Call of Duty will be on my list. Because it's highly going to depend on... We know nothing about the game, honestly. Besides just kind of a TDM. Don't know the campaign. Don't know zombies. I don't know if you know anything about the multiplayer, but like it has a huge third-person social area like the tower. Okay. It's got a place called Headquarters where it's there's like basically no multiplayer menus. You go to when you sign into multiplayer, you go into the headquarters and it's a base camp that's built 2 weeks after the Normandy beach landings. And you can go to like a shooting range, you can go into a 1v1 pit, you can go get prestige up on a hill with the general, you can go into games, you can do all that. So there's a lot to the multiplayer, there's a lot to the campaign, and a lot to that. Last time I had a Call of Duty on my Game of the Year list was I think Black Ops 2. And that was a while ago. So I'm just curious to play that game and see if that ends up on my Game of the Year list. Because
I think
it definitely could.
We're definitely gonna.
There's a really good chance that game could be really, really good. So, but then there's also Zelda and Odyssey. So who knows? It's hard to beat those, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying with the games that are coming out, for my personal top 5, Zelda's tanking.
Really? Okay. I think we should for that podcast maybe have maybe our top 3 games, if not just like different awards for different types of good games. Because there are going to be those games that get overshadowed by whatever Nintendo giant is overshadowing them.
Sure. We'll have a fun time with that.
We'll have to find out the rules to that cast when that comes. I'm excited though. Are we doing that in December? Or are we doing that in January?
I think we should just do it in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. So that's Ys. So we're going into Destiny 2 now?
Sure seems like it. And I have notes on this fucking game.
Oh shit.
I gave it a good try, man. I really did.
Yeah. So something I'm going to label out right now while I can before JD just starts just hacking stuff to shit. There are 2 games on this list that are made for a community that JD is not a part of. He does not like these types of games. He's not good at them, and he gets very angry. This game and Fortnite. So, just saying, he's coming from the perspective of he plays single-player RPGs. I play a lot of these games, so I'm just saying. Go ahead, JD. Let's hear some of your notes.
All right, so I had no interest in doing the multiplayer.
The PvP?
I was the PvP.
Okay, yeah, PvP is always a really small side of Destiny, except for Trials.
Yeah, I figured I would concentrate on the story because if it was gonna hook me, the story mode was how it was gonna do it.
Right.
And I had played Halo. And Halo 2 this year.
Halo's
very recent games. For the first time ever.
What? Why haven't you told me about this? Yeah. Right after Destiny 2.
I've never played the story
mode. Right after
mode.
Destiny 2, we were going to have a little conversation. Just as an interlude, alright?
Halo 2 was fine. I didn't like Halo after the
Halo
the Horde.
Yeah,
the Horde.
The Flood. The Halo storyline.
The Flood, yeah.
The Halo storyline is the original is, in all honesty, I'm probably going to piss off a ton of people. It isn't that good. It was good for its time, just mechanically. The story was never really strong. Halo 2, I think you can argue, is one of the best games ever made.
Anyways,
I can just pound reasons because things they did in that story have never been done in games even up till now.
All right. So I've played... This is the third Bungie game I've played this year.
There you go.
And this game starts off very much like Halo.
Which Halo?
Like, just the franchise.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your character, spacey shit happens. There's an alien race that's destroying stuff. Go shoot the shit that isn't you. Okay? Bungie's very good at making this game. Okay?
Okay. That's true. That's true.
They have this formula, and no matter what game they put out, it has to follow this formula.
At least it's satisfying.
And they
it's satisfying.
And I'm talking strictly from the story part.
Yeah, okay. So you're not talking any strikes, side missions, exploration.
No.
Okay.
No.
Simply the campaign.
I did attempt one like side strike or whatever it's called, and it was a grindfest, boring mess.
Did you ever find one of the hidden groves or whatever they're called?
No.
Like the whole hidden maps and everything? Oh.
No.
Did you ever do any of the treasure maps? Oh.
No. I was just playing the story. Again, played it for 4 hours. I got bored. I stopped. Okay. It looks it looks great. The game looks fantastic.
That is true.
I got no gripes about that. Now the cutscenes with loading gets irritating. It happens way too often. Because anytime you want to go anywhere or get anywhere new, it's a loading screen, man.
I mean, yeah. At least it's pretty.
It's
the
tough.
thing about the loading screen that I enjoy in Destiny is that you can pull up your menu, do all the stuff with your character. You can do anything with your character. So I think that makes it a little less tedious. As someone who knows what I'm doing.
It felt like it was trying to be Mass Effect.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
With the whole hub world that you come across. The way the story was unfolding.
Did you play Destiny 1?
The whole RPG type building your character, it all felt very much like it was attempting to do what Mass Effect did, but in their own Bungie way.
Right.
So, because I mentioned this before on a previous podcast.
Did you play Destiny 1?
That I did, and I hated it.
Okay. Yeah.
This game is not hate-worthy.
Right.
Because I was fairly into what I was experiencing here.
Mm-hmm.
It has an epic start, right? I absolutely loved it. I thought the controls were pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the enemy designs. I did have a problem with why I had to experience two separate ship gunfights just for the opening sequence.
Yeah.
Because it felt like I did the same thing twice, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And that's what irritated me about the Halo games. It just felt like I kept doing the same thing over and over again.
I definitely got that with the older Halo games, too.
Just to inevitably get a cutscene and be like, okay, now what? Oh, I get to do the same thing again. That's so much fun. Just now with more enemies that have more health.
Right.
I love... Even though the main enemy is kind of meh.
The Red Legion.
I did love his design.
Yeah.
I did love the moment where he just kicks you away. He's like, you're not even worth killing. Like, fuck you. Very villainous. I love that. And then you start out with the abandoned planet somewhere. You've lost all of your Guardian powers.
Yeah, all the light.
I was like, awesome. Okay, I'll slowly build my powers over the course of the game. Great. Fantastic. Maybe I'll unlock the moon thing that gives them the powers, and that'll be like an all epic end where I get all my powers back. Just something along those lines. That's what was going through my head. So at this point I was into it. Mm-hmm. Okay. You continue the story. You learn more about the Traveler. You got your little robot buddy,
Cade,
that actually talks. So because your character, your character is mute.
Yep.
I guess there's a lore reason behind all that I don't know.
It's an immersive thing, kind of like Zelda.
Oh, fuck.
It's you are this character. This is you, and you talk. There's very few moments you talk. I think there are moments you talk though. Normally the ghost talks for you though.
Yeah. So it cuts back. You're in a wrecked village, and then you go into a third person adventure type perspective, which I actually liked.
Mm-hmm.
It got me it got me kind of more immersed in what I was kind of traveling around in this area.
Yeah.
You got, so then it's like, okay, this is your new base. This is where we're going to try and build for the resistance.
The farm.
I want to point out really quick,
What happened?
the way they added the soccer field with the goals to the farm was fantastic. Just saying. Because we were all just kind of like making makeshift soccer fields in the original tower, in the original Destiny, and they just straight up like added huge soccer. And even in the tower, if you go down to like the ship bays, there's this giant soccer field with these panels you can move up and down. You have these spectating chairs that you can move up and down and you can rotate around. And like it's incredible how much effort they put into making a really cool soccer experience.
Oh boy. I didn't get to see that, but I was more focused on just trying to get into this game.
Definitely. There's really nothing to
Wasn't
do in the
really
game until you finish the campaign. That's, the same with Destiny 1. Until you finish that for single player campaign, you can't really tackle the girth of the game.
And that was one of the major issues I had with it, because I wasn't at any sort of level. You can't do anything until you get to level 20.
Yep.
I
Which
believe.
is why I sat down that first night and I hit max level immediately so I could actually start playing the game. Because I knew that was going to happen. And I was like, I really want to play the game because
that is
Destiny,
so
and it's the same
dumb.
thing with Pokemon, in the after story.
The cool stuff you really want to do as a fan of the franchise all happens after you finish the single player. So I just sat down, put down the grind, got it done. And everything post that, I really enjoyed.
I never felt like that playing Pokemon games. Because I like the adventure. That's what
yeah,
what
but
I
it
play
got
the
so
Pokemon
boring
game.
because it was
Anyways,
the same
we're getting
damn
off
thing. It's the same thing over and over again. And then when you get to, especially with the black and white
Well, you gotta
games, you get to the post story of those ones, and it's this interesting storyline. You're exploring. You have the ability to do all kinds of stuff. You're finding mythical Pokemon. Like, it's cool. It's exciting. It's awesome. You get to do it at your own pace. It's the same thing I was talking about with Monster Hunter. That Pokemon has the issues of is it locks you to these kind of boring places where you're not encountering cool stuff until you really beat the champion, and then you get to explore the world and see all this cool stuff, and then it turns into an adventure. I never really had fun playing those games because I felt I got really bored until I could actually go around.
Right, well, we're getting a bit off tangent here, but fair enough. Yep. So at this point, in Destiny 2, I've immediately noticed how much reworking has been done from Destiny 1 to 2.
Yep.
All the issues seemingly are gone. Whether it's enemy health is just too much, and you're just pumping bullets into them, and you feel bored.
Yep.
To just the story being a lot more interesting.
Right.
When I started going out on this adventure, though, this is when things started getting noticeable of what was actually wrong with Destiny 2. The music always seems to be out of place.
I have the music.
So I'm
way
wandering
down.
around the wasteland because there's so many areas of just wandering in Destiny 2 where you don't encounter enemies. And you have this epic music playing. So I'm walking and you just hear...
I think you're looking in the wrong place because there's always enemies. You just mentioned wandering without enemies. I have no idea when that's ever happened in Destiny 2. There are enemies everywhere.
It was just after the beginning opening.
So you're talking about when you were wandering to the farm when you were hurt and you have no shit. Yeah. You're getting chased by dogs. If you're looking around, there are these wolves that are chasing you.
Didn't even notice.
You never noticed the wolves that were all over you trying to kill you?
No.
I died like 2 times.
So, I see them eventually, but I didn't know they were chasing me.
Yeah, if you look around, they're like howling.
Like, oh, look, wolves, and I killed them. The texture on the walls were very, very detailed. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? Like, the patterns never repeated, no matter where you would look in the game. But why am I looking at the walls when I should be looking at everything else in the game?
I think Bungie, what they've done with the Destiny worlds is they've made really visually shocking worlds, especially when you get to the later planets. Like what's the one? What's the Mars one? I think it's Io. Oh my god, that looks incredible. You're on these like just these metal racks trying kind of chasing through these generators fighting Fallen, or I think it's Fallen off of it, and you're looking down and there are these just waves coming over these. It looks incredible. And I remember I got there and I was like, oh wow, this looks incredible. Like Destiny, many times, even with some of the hidden sectors, there are so many times when I'm just exploring the worlds, looking for treasure chests, looking for areas, when I just find, hidden areas. And I just say, oh my goodness, this looks incredible. This is beautiful. I found this hidden sector. I was way out in this jungle area, I think on Earth, and I walk into this clearing, and there's this broken ship that's just kind of broken in the middle of the woods. And there's like a fallen captain like doing stuff there, and we fight him off, but it just looks beautiful. The lighting, the ship, it looks like old and looks like it has history. It all looks unique. Like, find a chest in there, get a cool loot, and it's just so satisfying. And it looks awesome.
This is definitely a game for a person obsessed with graphics and can really appreciate them.
Really?
I will give it that.
I think it's pretty. Yeah. It's not picture realistic graphics. Has a very pastel kind of cartoon, not live action.
I thought it looked gorgeous.
It looks gorgeous, but I don't think it looks realistic.
Well, it's a freaking sci-fi shooting game. How realistic is it?
Look at like Halo. Anyways. They're going for the realistic look.
Yeah, that's what
this is like. It's a lot more,
and this is
pastel painting almost.
It's going the other direction, yeah.
But it looks good.
Yeah, the story, the gameplay felt diverse. I didn't until I found out that the grind was necessary. At least for the start, I didn't feel like the character leveling really truly mattered, which I appreciated. But then they lost. Then it loses that very quickly once you get through certain
Definitely,
point.
This game with the leveling never mattered. Once you hit level 20, there's nothing. You have your light level, which is important, but it doesn't work like it does in the original game. In this game, it's all just basically it's all revolved around just your gear. So once you hit level 20, like it doesn't feel any different than like level 10. It just kind of marks, because as soon as you get to the tower, as soon as you beat the single player campaign, the game does, even if you aren't level 20, it gives you certain items that give you an XP boost and just powers you to level 20 instantly. So
it just seems like, what was the point then?
I felt it was kind of dumb. I kind of wish they'd gotten rid of the leveling system and only done light levels, which would have been completely fine.
I would totally agree. It would have definitely made a better experience.
Yeah, because light level's the fun in Destiny.
You would have felt more accomplishing.
Right.
People would have definitely had more fun. So, again, at this point, I only have small gripes. I'm into it. Okay.
And you're like at the farm, right?
Then, well, okay. So I'm at the farm. I do my. So I start my missions. Okay. Mm-hmm. You end up getting to a point where you gain all your power back that you lost.
Okay, you do not. You have a completely different subclass that you've never used. It's completely unique to the game. It's very different, and it's also very weak at the time until you get your power up. They implemented trees into this game, power trees. So unlike the first game, when you get your subclass, it's not just kind of powered already. You have pretty much nothing when you develop this class, and you have to develop this class and learn how to use it. Because I got this, and like I have light, I have my light now, but this is completely different. It was completely foreign. It was new. Hadn't used it, hadn't touched it. Didn't know the tree, because of how they implemented the new RPG system with the ability trees. I didn't know what I was doing with it, what its abilities were. I was playing a warlock. I was playing the Fire Sword Warlock. I'm like 20 hours into the game doing a strike, and I learn, wait a minute, I have this like ground pound healing ability that I never knew about. Like they did a really good job at making certain stuff still seem a little mystical and not really giving you all the information, because you don't have full light.
So what you're saying, what I'm gathering here from what you're saying is, unless you played the shit out of Destiny 1, this moment would have made sense. If you would have done that.
I think if you're really looking into it, I think you kind of see the stuff. But a lot of this game, there was a lot, especially the campaign, didn't really have... I was playing with a guy who had never played Destiny 1. Some of this campaign had like an emotional impact. Like there are definitely parts where they make you look at the tower. And it's like, I spent thousands of hours there, doing stuff. All my loot's gone. There are times, especially... I got a little emotional at the beginning of the game. I don't know if you got this, JD, because I don't know if you're playing the same account as Destiny, but they do this like art book walkthrough of the stuff you did in Destiny. Like it shows you and your friends, and friends' names, like when they fought.
They're harping on the quote unquote nostalgia feel,
definitely.
Even though the game was only like 3 years old.
And there's a lot. Well, no, because the thing about this game is that people put thousands and thousands of hours into it. And there are parts, there are a lot of little jokes the characters make that you wouldn't understand if you hadn't played Destiny 1.
Yeah. So that's an example of me experiencing things that the lore is a great example. There's no encyclopedia in this game at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So I have no idea what the characters are talking about half the time. All these references to the previous game, I don't know or I don't remember of what I did play. This is where the game loses me hard. Was the story I was into seemingly was written to cater to only Destiny 1 people.
I can argue against that because when I did my like 15 hours straight,
I
played with somebody who never played Destiny 1.
You played Destiny.
I played with somebody. It was me and my buddy Rob. He never touched Destiny 1. It was his first time ever playing Destiny, and he had a fun time, especially when he got to level 20. Because he thought it was cool, he thought it was intriguing and interesting, and he wanted to learn more, And I will, just like the first Destiny game, this game is no fun to play, at least at the beginning, if you were playing solo. The game sucks solo. It is a multiplayer game.
Well, there you go. I played solo, and
yes,
it sucks.
I played Destiny 1 solo, and I had
suck.
no fun, and I put down the game for like 3 months until my buddies got it, and we played through it together. And then I got into it, because then once you get into expansions, there's, the stories with Oryx, there's the stories with Crota, there's all this just world building that makes this universe just so lush with life and so much that is just there. And Destiny feels so lived in, is what I love about it.
If the solo experience isn't there for the type of gamer I am, this game is awful.
I think the single player can definitely be entertaining for the solo, because it's a good story, regardless.
It's an okay story because there's certain... That part where you get your power back, you saw under the surface, based on your previous knowledge. From my perspective, it was you lost all your power because of the big bad, and then you just get to an artifact, and then there's even the line where the robot goes, "We're back, baby."
We're back.
I was like, well then what was...
Well, the point is that you get... It's a shard of light. It's the shard of the Traveler. It's not the Traveler. You aren't full powered. You're still really weak.
It doesn't tell you any of that information.
It does, though.
The only information... No, it doesn't. It doesn't say the shard... For all I know, the shard is what gave me all my power back. I don't know how... There was no way of me knowing how much power I actually had until I got this shard.
You have to, yeah.
And then I was more overpowered with the shard than I was at the beginning of the game. Because now I have all these new abilities.
Huh. So maybe you weren't... Were you ever looking at the menus? Because it's another thing about Destiny. You spend a lot of time in the menus with your character, looking at the stuff, looking at the trees, looking at your rolls, looking at all that stuff. Because it is definitely an RPG. So
it does its best in that aspect, especially coming from... It's trying to be a first-person shooter RPG. It's trying hard. I get it. It's fine. The RPG doesn't have the fan base it used to. I won't harp on the simplicity of it. I will harp on, however, that any sort of customization you want in this game is a one-time use, and I fucking hate it.
They have definitely talked about that, and it's gotten really easy. Shaders are pretty easy to get. Lots of them. So I have honestly, as I've played the game, never had an issue with shaders. Never.
Well, the amount of time you've played it, you can probably get your duplicates as much as you want, and it won't bother you as much. And that's probably why a lot of these boxes have duplicates.
No, I haven't bought a single box, and it's not like you get tons of shaders, but especially if you do treasure chests, a lot of treasure chests have shaders. The thing is, you start going through gear pretty quickly, and you start getting as soon as you start getting like treasure maps and stuff, you're getting so many different shaders that are actually really cool. That as you go through new gears of armor, you have enough shaders. You light up this armor, you light up your ship, you light up your sparrow, and you move on. You keep going. There's never been a moment where I'm like, oh, I wish I had that shader. Because it's all balanced really well. Because Destiny understands, Bungie understands kind of the gripes with that, and they have made it just perfectly. They've hit that line where if you were really, really, really into it, you can spend money, but there's enough given to you that you're not upset that you don't have it.
All right, fair enough. I still didn't like it just because it felt like I shouldn't use these items because I was afraid that I wouldn't ever.
I had that
them.
issue too until I just started using them because I didn't care, and then I was like, oh, it's fine. Yeah.
So Bungie's very good at making.
They're really good at making tight decisions.
Their formula.
Yeah.
They definitely know how to make money on these franchises with the loot boxes, with the shaders, with the DLCs to expand. Because as you said, the universe and lore is there, and that's again where I feel like the Destiny franchise is really just trying to be Mass Effect.
Well, the thing about Destiny 1 is that Destiny 1 released, it had a really sound cooperative play in the strikes and everything. The biggest issue was the first story was a little annoying. They kept trying to shove lore down your throat. And it was too much, not just an adventure in an open experience. And every expansion, they definitely what was the first one? The Dark Below with Crota. It started this interesting storyline that you were like, okay, I fought this guy who's Crota, I kill him. House of Wolves, interesting because it set up the Reef, it set up that whole faction of people, and then the Taken King, huge bomb. Changed Destiny forever, completely rescaled kind of how the game works, how everything works, added the subclasses, added the new really good campaign, added all these characters, added new voice actors for the Ghost and everything, completely rescaled the game, made it incredible. And then Rise of Iron added a ton of game mechanics and a smaller, still pretty good story that made Destiny
It's so much money though. There's so much money, though, you have to pump into the game in order to unlock the full experience.
I spent $40 on the full Destiny game.
Is all the DLC free?
No, but you can go to GameStop and get the complete collection for $40.
See, it's selling for $90 here in Canada.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's Canada.
That's a lot of money.
I don't know. Because I remember... after playing Taken King for a while, I got a code for it, and I just I dropped off.
Oh, you're referring to Destiny 1.
Yeah, I'm referring to Destiny 1. Destiny 2, what they started out with is they started out with this world that's all there, and you can get if you want, but they're not shoving anything in your face. They just have their gameplay loop. They have the good world. They have an interesting story. They have tons and tons of gameplay stuff that makes it so addicting post the single player. I still have so much fun just searching for lost sectors and doing treasure maps. And then the expansions, I'm really curious about because especially with Taken King, what they did so good about is with Crota in the Dark Below, they established this weird, just kind of off story that was kind of okay, that was that. And they put little strings in House of Wolves, and then Taken King just blew that thing into this awesome, with Oryx and Crota's father and all this awesome stuff. I'm really curious to see, especially because it's already leaked that the first DLC is going to be the Fall of Osiris. We're gonna need a new planet. We're Osiris, right. And so I'm curious to see if they're gonna make this deep storyline that they did so good with in the first one. And something I do want to pipe in on the Destiny campaign really quickly. Bungie 100% tried to pull a Halo 2 with the first one, and they started trying to do this development of Gaul, just like they did with the Arbiter. I think it fell a little bit short because they didn't do enough of it, but it was cool to see them trying. Gaul was an interesting character because especially by the end of the game, you learn kind of his motives and you learn who he was and what that story was. Kind of wish it went more Arbiter and you'd played with him and done certain stuff, but that just isn't really the Destiny way. But all together, I'm totally remembering this story. I thought it was fantastic how it all wrapped up at the end.
It just felt too samey to me. I definitely see a lot of inspiration from Mass Effect in the Destiny franchise. I'm not saying that they're anywhere close to the same game, but there's a lot of elements that are similar.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Because I'm not.
Well, I mean, they're big sci-fi open universe like lore building games. There's going to be similarities, you know.
Yeah, but with the whole RPG aspect,
there are things Andromeda that totally took from Destiny too. So I just
and Andromeda's a mess. I can't even just get into that garbage of a game. But basically, what I feel is Destiny 2 is definitely a whole hell of a lot better than the first one. There's a lot to like about it. There's a lot I don't like about it, just from my kind of fandom and the gamer that I am. It does feel like this is the game that should have come out first.
Yep. Definitely. It is what Destiny was supposed to be. They've taken everything and they've fixed it and made what Destiny really is. And this is Destiny. So
yeah. That I have not a huge issue with, but it is an issue nonetheless. So I'm going to call this game Destiny 1.5.
I would say Taken King was Destiny 1.5. That's literally what everybody called Taken King, because it fixed all the Destiny problems. It made Destiny what it should have been at launch. Taken King was Destiny 1.5. This is officially Destiny 2.
Yeah. Well, nevertheless. It's just to me, it still feels like they have a lot more work to do to make this a franchise-type game. It's definitely gained so much ground because it's Bungie itself and its Halo roots. That's why Destiny became popular and more along the mainstream. I feel like it's a good game that could be great.
Something I do want to close with, and it's something JD can't pipe on, but like, finish the story. The story is good. You kind of have to finish the story and to really get into the experience that Destiny presents that is incredible. Destiny 2 is an incredible game if you really like having an adventure and going crazy and doing all these awesome things. But you have to go through that story first. And I think the best way to experience it is grabbing a couple friends and having fun, you know? Because it's not like a super deep, crazy story, but it's simple, fun. The characters are fun. It's cool. There's some good characters. And it's memorable, definitely. And it's very satisfying at the end. And once you beat it, the game blows up into something incredible. So, highly, highly recommend it.
I felt nothing for the characters.
What'd you say?
I felt nothing for the characters.
Well, once you get into... I thought it was a lot more interesting because they covered the Vanguard characters a lot more deeply in this game than they did in the original, which being Ikora, Zavala, and Cade, because you end up having to find them because they've kind of separated across their own places trying to help stuff out. You go and find them, and then you kind of get backstory on each of them, get more ground, and then you ignite the original Vanguard fire team, which is a really cool moment. And there's a lot of little jokes, and there's some other characters. They made a new Guilty Spark. There's a character named Failsafe that is just 100% Guilty Spark, and she's really entertaining. And then again, even through the single player, some of the planets you visit are just incredible to look at. So even through the single player campaign, just looking at the world, looking at the development of the characters, the RPG stuff, it was just so like adventurous and awesome. So I cannot recommend the game enough if you want to have a lot of fun. It's definitely just a fun game.
Alrighty. You want to go into the sports games? Because that's kind of.
Are we hitting Project Cars or are we hitting FIFA, NBA, NHL?
Let's do the sports first, and then we'll go into Project Cars.
FIFA, NBA, and NHL.
Yeah, so they're all the sports franchises. It's September. They come out every year.
They look real pretty this year.
Yeah, the graphics look better.
All right,
as they should.
All right, next game. There's nothing to
I have
like.
more
what is there? This is FIFA. This is NBA.
That.
This is NHL. You got hockey. You got basketball. You got soccer. They have their storylines. They're cool because they have money and they have good actors. They're interesting. There's probably some new microtransactions you might find entertaining.
FIFA does. FIFA does.
It's the same game. It's an annual release. It's not.
FIFA's the same game.
FIFA is the same game. NBA. They all have new gameplay mechanics. They had to try and mix it up. But in the end, these games are based off of a sport, and that's what they're trying to deliver on. So it is still a good soccer game. It's a good basketball game and it is a good hockey game. So that's my side of it. I enjoyed them. They're fun, you know.
All right. So my small take on FIFA is it's very much it's a big graphical boost. They brought back the story mode. Okay, sure. But then gameplay wise, not much else to it. The previous installments, the EA has definitely put in a lot of like sharing moment sequences in there where you can upload clips of your amazing things in real time.
Trying to make the games a lot more social, I think.
They are.
Doesn't help that the
so
community is
don't really have much to say over FIFA. It's just another FIFA game to me. NBA came out on the Switch. NBA 2K18.
FIFA 18's on the Switch
and
as
that's
well.
what I.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with NBA because the NBA games are very. I think they play like ass. I've always thought they play like ass. It's very hard to make a good basketball game to me. It's digital only on the Switch right now. It comes out physically in later this month in October. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't.
And that's forcing a lot of people to get expandable SD cards for their Switch.
Because even more with the Switch, it's the same thing with the Vita. I hate physical with this console, honestly. It's kind of ass. I much prefer digital for mobile most of the time.
So surprisingly enough, NBA looks very good on the Switch. I thought it was going to have to take a big graphical downgrade from Xbox and PlayStation. The character models are super on point, better than they've ever looked in previous.
I want to
games.
just really quickly just give good job to like the developers for the Switch who've been compressing files because geez, the compression. This Switch is running like textures and stuff that console should not be able to run. It's honestly kind of amazing. The compressing that these developers have done is honestly incredible. So, props to that.
Yeah, the overall presentation of NBA is very much like the NBA today, where everything's a almost like a cinematic performance for these players. It's not. I personally don't like today's NBA, so this kind of threw me off. But hey, it's good. Today's NBA fans will love it. The game mechanics, the actual game itself, is hit and miss to me. They'll probably refine this later. I'm not 100% sure, but they definitely won't refine player releases. Everything feels off. And what I mean by releases is the release points on jump shots. Everything feels a bit off. No matter what player you use, whether it's Dirk Nowitzki's wide jump shot fadeaway, who has a quick release? Stephen Curry's quick release is super easy, while it feels too easy. Players feel overpowered, which is, it had... Okay, fine, I get Stephen Curry can make a fucking three from anywhere, and if you're Golden State, it's ridiculous, but there are certain things that you need to hold back in video games, otherwise they're game-breaking characters and players. It just makes it not fair. And if you're playing online, if you ever play against anyone with the Warriors, just don't play them. Like, don't even bother. Like, that's how I feel against, like, playing someone like Chelsea in FIFA Online. Like, why am I bothering to play? Like, what is then the point of having all these other teams if everyone's just going to be one team just because they're overpowered? So you gotta hold back. There is a cool feature in NBA where you can have legend teams. Legend players are involved, but when you're choosing online, you have no idea what your opponent's choosing until you actually start the game. So you're like, fuck, I'm playing like the 97 Bulls. Shit. So I don't like the online play of NBA to this day still. There's still so many things that they just don't give a shit about. Nothing's refined. The shots are now momentum based, which I found really odd. I kind of like that because it makes your player running to the hoop and throwing up layups a little bit more difficult in traffic. It takes a lot to get used to in that sense, but you mentioned that they're putting in story modes. in these sports games. This NBA story mode is absolute garbage. It's a waste of freaking time. It's
The Spike
so
Lee one
boring.
was
It's
pretty
so
cool.
bland. Oh my god, this one is just awful. Don't
I
even
don't
bother.
think
The story's on the
I don't
court,
think
if you
there's
ask
much
me.
to say about these games besides if you like them, you'll probably like them. If you don't like them, you don't like them. If you do like these sports and you haven't played them, try them. You might be entertained. You know, like I play FIFA with my dad every once in a while because he's a huge soccer fan. It's fun. You know, it's just a game. This is just the most video gamey game you can play because it's just a game.
NBA is not doing it for me. There was like a 2-year span where I got it 2 years in a row because there was like multiplayer franchise mode that you can do, and the game was still kind of arcadey. It was fun. This game feels almost too realistic at times, and there's still so many game-breaking things. And you know, these companies have come out and said like players like Stephen Curry are breaking our game mechanics, and it's irritating. So, moving on to NHL. Much like FIFA, it's still... The gameplay is still very much the same, but there's a couple things that stand out to me in NHL. I don't know how much of NHL you've played.
Not much. I'm not a huge hockey person.
Yeah. Well, here in Canada, this game is fucking ridiculously popular, as you can imagine. Yep. I mean, there's Xbox and PlayStation bundles coming out with NHL in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the gameplay hasn't changed too much. The AI needs a lot of refinement in NHL right now. NHL 18. Mm-hmm. There's... The difference between semi-level and pro-level is ridiculous. You can score 6 goals a game to almost scoring not at all. And the computer, when it shoots, the puck always gets deflected into the net. So your goalies can't stop a thing. So that is my major gripe. If a defender on the computer ever takes a shot from the point, it's in. Like, forget it. You can't defend it. I do like, however, it's much easier to get penalties in the game, and because the defending has been refined a little bit because of this, that leads your penalty kill and power play to be that much more important, which I haven't seen in past games. I really like that. The other element I really like, and this is a game mode that they've added, because the Vegas Golden Knights are a franchise team that's added this year. Okay? Mm-hmm. So when you go into franchise mode, you can actually pick the Golden Knights and do an expansion draft as the Golden Knights. But that's not all. You can also create your own team and do a second expansion draft. And you know, you can make your own arena, you can make your own jerseys, your own logo, pick your own state and city. It goes on, and I don't know how familiar you are with this, but with the expansion, you pick at least one player from every NHL team, and put them on yours.
Right.
But you can't pick just the best players. You pick basically the players that those teams feel like they can part with. And there's a couple guys that stand out, so your team won't be total ass starting to start, but they're not going to win a Stanley Cup if you just sim the season. If you know what I mean. So it's really fun. I played this mode with my friend the most. We played 2-player franchise. We were on the same team. We picked the team together. We made the team together. It was a lot. It was tons of fun. We made our team the Rhode Island Chickens.
There you go.
And they play at Ocean Cove. Yeah. So this was made very well. I quite enjoy it. If you're into, because sports games to me is the franchise mode, and NHL's definitely hit it out of the park with the expansion draft in this. That is the mode to play.
Alrighty.
So if that's not worth getting, I don't know what would be. It's quite good. I do have harps on that AI that it'll more than likely be refined. So
alrighty. And that is the sports game for the year.
Those are the sports games for the year.
We have 2 games left, and I want to know which one you want to tackle first.
We have 3 games left, technically.
Oh, that's true. Project Cars. Yeah. All right. There, in this game, is more than cars.
This game is Project
Go on.
Cars. It is Project Planes. It is Project Human. It is Project Boats. And it's the same thing, just with boats, humans, and, you know. JD, did you play much of this game?
I did.
Okay. I played it at E3, and I was like, this is fun.
There was a big demo that came out, and I played as much as I could. The problem with the first Project Cars is everything played like ass. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's trying to rival Forza and Gran Turismo, which both come out in October here. So this coming out a month earlier is definitely to their advantage. Mm-hmm. There is a lot to like about this game, and over time this game will be, it'll have its updates and refine what's wrong with it.
This game
right now,
I think this game's more of a
this is not a game to get.
There was this other game that came out that really went under the rug. It was sick. What was it called, though? It was called, it was that snowboarding game, that extreme sports game that came out a while ago.
What, Steep?
Yes. I got hardcore Steep vibes from this game.
It's doing something different that Forza and Gran Turismo won't do, such as the boats and whatnot. Really cool. I think when this game gets cheaper, like in a year from now, this game will be fantastic. Right. But as of right now, it has a lot of issues the first one did, such as the handling with a controller is ridiculously terrible still, which means you have to pretty much buy a $400 to $500 driving wheel to feel in control of the cars, because the elements are so good in this game. The whole purpose is you can play any course at any time with any weather condition. So you can play in a desert and then all of a sudden it starts snowing like Armageddon. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. But the fact is you still need a wheel right now for it for you to have any control over this car, and I have a major issue with that, because I personally, as much as I love driving games, I'm not going to spend $400 on a freaking wheel.
Yeah.
Right? Project Cars is trying to get it's trying to upgrade this simulation experience with everything. But if I'm driving a boat, and this is kind of where this is my theory behind why even the wheel has inconsistencies at times, is because they haven't quite figured out how to have a different experience with handling between the let's just keep it as the boat and the car.
Yeah, because they took a driving game and then they just threw it the same mechanics into multiple different things that aren't the same. They are not cars, they don't operate like cars, so it's weird.
Yeah, and they have rally cars in it. They have what was it? It's almost like a stock car race as well. Everything controls so different, and they can't seem to find a middle ground to it all. I feel like if they simplified it, then it would be a better experience. They're trying to make I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make every car a unique feel, and they just haven't hit it yet. It was unplayable in the first one. This one's definitely more playable, but they just haven't reached that point.
What they need to do with this franchise is they need to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do all these crazy, planes, all that. They need to change the name of the franchise. They need to put the whole franchise back in the oven, get like a 4-year dev time, 5-year dev time, work the hell out of the game, make this really good at what it's trying to be, and release it as its own thing and capture its own place on the market. Because this is a great idea. They could do something incredible. Don't hold it to the Project Cars name, and don't hold it to any developing standards. What the producers need to do is say, hey, make this a good game, and then we can build a franchise out of this. Don't build a franchise off of an ass game.
Well, the first game was definitely ass. This game is not. This game is not.
This game is not Project Cars.
It has.
This is some crazy extreme sport game. That's my issue.
When I was driving on courses, and because it's any environment at any time, I noticed the AI was very all over the place. So it wasn't like you're facing the same drivers, and some drivers have issues on wet environments over dry, just as an example. This was more like any one of these AI drivers could have issues at any time. Now, some can see that as a positive, because, sometimes even the best drivers, can mess up on a wet surface or a snow surface or whatever.
Right.
However, I feel like there should be advantages to certain drivers. You should have, there should be that one driver who's so good on like a snow environment that you also have to be as good as him to beat him. Does that make sense? Because there was one course. I was about to say level. There was one course where I played where it was all snow the whole time, and a couple cars immediately spun out, and I didn't pass the race the first time. I tried it a couple more times, and then just randomly a guy would pass me for no reason, because then all of a sudden he was too perfect, and that's where the inconsistency lies. How are you supposed to beat a perfect racer? And that's where the game breaks. So it's seemingly I just have to keep playing that course until the AI breaks itself, so I can win. That's something Forza and Gran Turismo definitely have an advantage of over Project Cars. I see so much potential in the Project Cars series. I'm so interested.
I think it's a great
with
but they need to drop Project Cars as a name. This needs to be its own franchise. Because
it could be Project Driving.
This should just be like, make the game like freaking Project Extreme, Project Fun, Project something, Project not car. Don't lock. This is not a cars game. This is not about cars. This is about a lot of things, And they need to put this in the oven because this could be fantastic. It could have its own market. It needs to be its own thing, though. That's all it is. It needs to do good. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I think a year from now, if they've done enough updates and refined a lot of this, such as the AI and the handling mechanics, this game could be great.
But the issue with that is that you can't really just do a full rebrand then. You can't do all your marketing. It's a game, they need to make a good game at launch. That's the issue, It's not like they're adding
that is definitely the issue here.
They can't do a full marketing run.
Well, who knows? Maybe it'll become like a Watch Dogs situation. That's where I'm going with this, where the game was ass when it came out. A year later, then it was playable and it was actually a fun game.
Maybe.
Hopefully, Project Cars 2 can do that, and then when it's $20, $30, I'll be like, all right, now I can get it, because now it's a playable game.
What they should do
now, I can't recommend Project Cars 2 as it has the potential to be the driving game of the generation, but it's not currently it at all. So
next game,
what a shame.
You want to hit Cuphead first.
I want to do Cuphead last. Let's do Fortnite.
Open this up here?
Yeah, sure. So Fortnite's a battle royale game, very popular genre that's been developing ever since PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds came out.
I need to know something now. Are we covering Fortnite Battle Royale, or are we covering Fortnite as a full game?
Well, the full game's not even out yet. The single player's out?
Since June.
Oh.
This
That's right.
game's been out.
Yeah.
Fortnite is a shooter survival game, based PvE. They recently just added a free-to-play battle royale game. And,
That's.
Single player is pretty fun.
Go on.
Good gameplay, good. It's fun. I enjoy it a lot. Good RPG mechanics. Battle Royale. It falls into a really interesting spot, and I don't know if anybody's looked at the legal issues, but PUBG and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds have definitely went after this game, and they're considering further legal action because while there are there's a good amount of similarities. It's a very unique game and on its own, but the biggest issue is that Epic Games is the one who licenses the engine to PUBG, which is why this seems like a little bit of an ethics issue. But regardless, Fortnite is fun. It does something. It's definitely not a competitive battle royale game like PUBG and what used to be H1Z1. It's cartoony. It's easy. It's fun. That's what I have out of this one. This one's just a lot of fun. It's really easy. Shooting and everything and building, it's all really easy. You can build stuff. You can break stuff. You can collect loot.
it's a lot more intuitive than what PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds
PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is definitely a really competitive battle royale game where you were just a human, you know? It's very not video gaming. It's a lot more, you know, gritty. You're a human, you're looking for your stuff, you're trying to survive. This game, you're kind of like a cartoony superhero, you know? You can take your own you can do some weird stuff. You can build like crazy. You can get guns that are a little bit bombastic, you know.
The things you can build in it is pretty fun and interesting.
Yeah, you know, at the ends of a lot of games, especially in team-based games, you know, there's always big forts that people build, and they hold them down. Traps. I recently started playing with traps, and those can be a lot of fun. Either just to bait people or...
Yeah, those took a little bit to get used to.
Yeah, no,
though,
just finding the
sure.
interface and being able to know, like, okay, this is a good place to get trapped. Just getting the meta of how to work people into traps took a minute. Definitely a lot of fun. It's also a really easy game, honestly. It's really easy to get wins in this game. And something you have to express is that this is not a game about getting kills, it's a game about staying alive. You know, you can get 99 kills and still lose the game. So you should always focus on staying alive more than just getting a kill. And if you just stay smart and you consistently think about your actions, it's easy win. But it's still a lot of fun.
So that's where I had an issue with it. Because then I found myself just either building something. Because like you said, the game's about staying alive. So I found myself running around the environment, just collecting shit. I felt like I was doing nothing. Even when I was building something, I was like, okay, this is the most fun I'm having than actually playing anything else. Sort of a similar gripe I had with PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. This game I did have more fun with just because of the more arcadey feel. It felt like a video game. It was a lot easier to just dive into.
Here's something I want to push really quickly right now. JD, can I convince you to come play Fortnite with me more? No.
No, I'm done. I am done with the game. I am bored with it.
The game, I mean, it's a battle royale game. It's completely, well, it is. This one isn't really a hardcore, you know, intense competitive game. The entertainment factor is still definitely in beating everybody else and being the last one standing, being king of the hill, you know, getting the chicken dinner, getting the umbrella, being the winner. And so there are definitely ways to do it. I've gotten to the point where, you know, I've played slow, I've done all the things, I've gotten tons of wins. I'm now trying to see how high kill games I can get with a win. I think my highest right now is like 17 kills in a win. But it's a battle royale game, you know. You have to it is core. The game is built off of being the best in that game. So you have to think, you have to be smart, you have to know where to loot, you know. There's multiple spots on the map that I think are the best spots to loot that I like to land because I can, you know, maybe get I'm pretty much guaranteed a gun here. I can get these kills here for the people who land here if the bus comes in here. And I know kind of how to work, you know, the meta, you know, high ground versus small ground versus what kind of building you want to make. It's all everybody trying to best the other players to be the best. So,
sure. I felt this game was much more fun than anything PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds ever did.
I find myself actually
going back much more
even more after this game. Funny enough, sorry.
The weapon variety, the way your team kind of interacts with each other. Because I gave this a good try. Okay, I went on a site and went into a Discord group and I was speaking with other players.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the communication was there for sure. So we were building forts and had one guy talking to me. So what do you think of the game so far? He's like, dude, if this is all we're doing, I'm honestly bored. He goes, yeah, but when the people come, this will be exciting. I go, okay, but we've been here for like 40 minutes just building this thing. This is it. Like, and then we have to run around carefully, just gathering supplies to reinforce the fort more.
I have not played fort making like that. Definitely no. I set up little shops, but as a player who's been playing for a while now, I focus more on trying to get certain map control and get kills of the higher ground. Because you can't really just the thing about the base is you can't make a base because, you know, the blue's always coming in. You can't just hunker down for the whole map. So I focus more on trying to using all my things to get the advantage on a player. Because again, at the core, it's all about besting the player and being a smarter player, which I enjoy. That said, this game it's really easy. It's a lot more fun. It's not really that intense. I found it's brought me back to Battlegrounds. I've been playing Battlegrounds more just because it has me moving with these game mechanics and these gameplay like strategies, and I'm just, because PUBG is definitely way more of a competitive game, has me going back, testing new stuff, trying different ideas, and I'm just having tons of fun with everything, honestly. It's a great time to be a Battle Royale player.
Hey, if you're into these kind of games, I would recommend Fortnite over PlayerUnknown's.
Yeah.
Maybe after you play Fortnite for a while, then you can go into the more competitive PlayerUnknown.
It depends on the gameplay experience you want, Like Fortnite, very, very gaming. If you're looking for something a lot more gritty and intense, PUBG is definitely a lot more of an intense game. It's a lot slower. Fortnite's a lot more just kind of run around and have fun. H1Z1's just... Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're doing anymore. It used to be a great game. They've went off the deep end though. So they're.
That's kind of my prediction for PlayerUnknown's.
No, PlayerUnknown's has huge things in the future. They're going to be releasing all those new maps here soon. They have new guns coming out. The new cars are going to release here soon. PlayerUnknown. He's been making battle royale games for now, 7 years.
Yeah, and he'll just before just like H1Z1, before anything gets refined, he's gonna make another one, and then all the players are gonna move to the.
I don't think that's what you're gonna see. I think
it's gonna be the same gritty.
No, I think he's sticking with PUBG because every day, there's a new release, and he's like, "This is what I want to do," and he talks with the community. The thing that PlayerUnknown, and the reason PUBG is doing so great and it's gotten so much better every update, is because PlayerUnknown is a part of the community. He's not a huge gameplay developer studio. He's a modder. And he is in the community. He's finding out what people like, and he's making the game better. And I have complete, satisfaction in his work. I have 100% faith in him. I think he's doing a fantastic job. Because it's not like this is a game he made to make money. It's a complete passion project. And he knows what he's doing. He's totally making money, but it's a passion project. He's been making these games for a long time. He was able to get enough funds to release his own game. He knows what he's doing, and nothing he has done or even announced has made me slightly worried about the game. New maps, great. He's got the gameplay loop, and it's perfect, and it works. And now he's just adding to the game, and he does such a good job with the test servers, adding stuff by fire. If the community says no, this doesn't work, he gets rid of it. If the community says just leave it in supply drops, the community leaves it in supply drops. He does everything by the player base that plays the game and makes it great. And he's smart about it, which is great. But that is definitely a harder game, slower game, much more punishing of a game. It's a very, very, it's competitive, It's broken to esports. That's a skill gap game. Fortnite is a lot more of a just pick up and play, kind of have fun if you're just a casual player.
Well, even so, there was some breaking moments where I get totally frustrated, and that's when whether you land in the same place as someone else, whether it's on purpose or not, you can have games last an hour or two, like it worked
in
with
Fortnite,
me, or
the timer allows the max game to be 40 minutes.
Then that's what probably happened in that 40-minute one.
There's only 3 people alive if the thing's been going 40 minutes.
I lose track of time playing the game,
I'm
man.
just saying.
It's just running around. So, I found myself dying in the first 90 seconds. Too many times.
That happens sometimes. I have that. I go on streaks of that too. If you're just trying to land a certain place, hit a certain building.
Because it takes so long to load. It takes so long to load all the time. Issue. What do you mean? You experienced it with me. It's minutes upon minutes.
Oh, matchmaking, yes. But when we're moving to the map, it's instant. Thing about the game in Battle Royale games, if you screw up your stretch, if you're dropping the wrong way, if you hit an angle wrong, somebody can land. There's always a chance somebody lands right next to you first. They get a gun, you're dead. That's the Battle Royale thing. You're just first to the fight. And that's the risk of landing in a high-populated area, and that's why you play the game. You kind of find what works. You find where to drop, how to drop there, what might work. The bus is hitting here. How many people are probably going to drop there? My favorite, if we have, the bus off to the left, I can stretch over to the garages. There's always a gun on the roof, which means If I grab that, I can drop down, and normally about 2 or 3 people land there with me, if that's that. But I know how to hit the roof perfectly. I get that gun, I can kill them all, get all the loot for the whole garages. That's enough loot to win a game. And that's how I win most of my games. That's my favorite place to drop. And that's what happens. Sometimes you die a couple times, it's aggravating, you just got to keep going. Maybe if it happens multiple times to me, I just go and land off in the woods somewhere and just get scrap loot and then hunt someone down quietly.
Right.
Just so I can get out of that loot, because that happens. That's how the gameplay works. But you just got to be smarter. You can't say, "Oh, I'm just going to kill this person." You got to really say what happens here, what if I challenge him here, what can he do, what are his options? You got to find the perfect scenario that makes you have the win, And that's what I enjoy about these types of games, is constantly trying to best whoever's there. Because, we have the tools, we got to work with what we got. Like yesterday I was playing Fortnite, I landed, I screwed up, and I had like a pistol, and I had 17 health. I killed 5 people with that pistol, and I won the game. At the beginning of the game, I have 17 health, I have a pistol, and I killed those people.
That's not something I'm.
Well, it's because I played it extremely smart, extremely slow. I hid in a bush. There's a person sitting right next to me. I'm not making that move because I don't want to blow away my position, because there's probably a chance he's going to kill me. So I have to play it extremely quiet. I have to wait for the perfect opportunity until he kills somebody else. He's looting, and I can get the perfect 2 headshots. Or you gotta get that perfect opportunity.
I found myself quite often not being able to see anywhere where an enemy was, and I would just get shot twice, because people are very good at this game.
It's not hard. Yeah, again, it's really easy.
Just pop headshot. It's just pop and I'm dead. I don't even know what happened. How am I? There's so many instances where I'm like, well, how was I supposed to even know or do anything? And it ruined the whole experience.
If I have to recommend against that, if you're just getting popped from an angle, you're out in the open too hard, you're making a move too awkward.
No, I was whether it was I was in a building or I'm circling a building and I'm being real careful, then just out of nowhere, just whether it's from the top of a hill to the right or wherever it might be, it's just the players are so good.
If you're running,
I don't know where they're coming from. I have no indication.
I always in these battle royale games,
even with a team, I'm even with other people, and we're like, let's do this. Like, we're communicating, and all of a sudden, bam, we're dead.
Played with some dumb players
immediately.
And honestly, what I've learned from my experience in battle royale games, even when I'm looting, I'm always jittering a little bit left and right. Whenever I'm running, I'm kind of moving. I'm strafing a little bit. That way, nobody can lead a perfect headshot and get a kill on me. I'm always moving, so if somebody starts shooting at me, I can react to that. But also, seeing like where the safe zone is, where the blue's coming in, predicting, like, even when you're dropping on the bus, looking where most people land, just to kind of assuming there's probably a lot more people coming from that angle than this angle. I'm going to try and cut off the line of sight, so I have an eye on that, and I can move here safely. I'm listening, I'm being aware, I'm trying to think of where people could be hiding. Yesterday I posted up on a roof, and there was a tower to the left, and I assumed, the blue, there was a large area that was open over there, that I know people landed. There's probably a person in that tower. I did not push the tower. I waited 3 minutes for the blue to start moving in, and he jumped down and I killed him. Just because I'm trying to outsmart, I'm thinking about everything. You gotta, when you're playing especially a battle royale game, you have to be thinking, because everybody, all 100 people, really, really want to win. So you have to be better than them. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're right. It's very competitive. It takes.
But shooting and stuff is really easy. Winning shots, headshots are really easy in this game. A little too easy. The freaking shield potions. They need to be nerfed. A shield potion should only give you 25 shield, because if you land, and normally what I've experienced, there have been like 2 games I've won where I did not have shield. You have to have shield to win. You will not win the game if you don't have a shield. And shields are just too powerful already. Exactly. They need to be nerfed to 25 shield per potion. And they need to be a little bit more common. So, they just added, though, today,
that's Fortnite.
2 days ago, they added duos mode, and they added drops, like airdrops. So, on the edge of the map, at random points, an airdrop will drop. It'll have a legendary weapon, maybe some potions. Really, really good addition. Makes the game way better. So...
I mean, there's a lot to like about the game. I'm really not into the whole competitive thing, but I gave the game a try. I did like it significantly more than anything I experienced in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
There you go.
So, that Because you know my hatred for that game.
That game takes everything that you're not good at and that you don't like and just makes it harder. So that's like that's an immovable object, getting hit by a unstoppable force. You can't, unless you really actually put the mindset in, you're like, okay, I'm going to get good at this, and you start thinking and working on it, like you're never going to get anywhere in that game, So,
yeah, I hope, man, I really hope that Fortnite doesn't get slammed and they have to like pull the whole game or owe a bunch of money. That would really suck
just did
to any sort of
big interview with a video game attorney, and it's very, very. There's not really much they can go on at this point. It's all just a question of ethics, because it's a little bit ethically screwed up because they're the engine licensor, and there's really nothing, because Battle Royale, you can't, in video games, you cannot have a copyright of a genre, a game mechanic, or
right.
you can't do that. So there's not much they can sue Fortnite for.
But they can get Epic Games with unless they signed like something for you can only use this engine for us, which is possible.
It's all, there's not much.
I hope that's
happen,
not the case.
Yeah.
So all right, let's move on to the very last game.
Yup.
Which is the hardest game that I have experienced in a long time.
There you go.
And very frustrating. It's called Cuphead. We've been waiting on this game. I think it was first announced 4 years ago.
And that is why I have not played it.
And a lot of people are hyped up.
I just want to because I'm not going to have much to say here, because I've looked at the reviews and everything. Looks cool. I'm not going to play it because it's not going to be on the Switch, because that's where games go for me to play them at this point in time. I was excited for this game 4 years ago. I was excited for this game 3 years ago. A little less excited 2 years ago, year ago. Forgot about it. Don't care about the game anymore. Don't care how good it is. They burned it.
That's a real shame, because this is one of the most unique looking games.
Oh, it looks cool, and I'll watch videos
seen
on it because it looks cool. But I'm not going to put the time in to play it now, because I just no hype.
At the very least, you need to watch some Twitch players or YouTubers playing this game and freaking the fuck out. Even I when I first booted up the game, I was immediately hit with emotions of rage.
Yeah.
It's that frustrating. So anyone who's not familiar with Cuphead, the whole game's based off of a 1930s animation look, kind of like the old Mickey Mouse cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Where everything's kind of looks like it's going through an old movie reel.
All watercolor.
All the character designs are real cartoony, original, like super original Disney-esque. You got the
film and stop motion. Like that's old 30s.
Oh yeah,
old. Like black and white
awesome.
Mickey Mouse stuff.
The character's eyes all have the triangle cut out to where they're looking. It's all real. It's all real fun. And I read an article over how difficult it was to make a game with this kind of animation, because everything is hand drawn and everything's basically moved. It's constantly moving. So the process in making the game was incredibly difficult. I believe it was one of the creators who goes, this might have been easier actually making it like we were in the 30s and then putting it into a game franchise. But they had to use, in order to do the game that they wanted, they had to use today's technology.
Yep.
And that's why it took so long for it to come out. It was that difficult. So props to the guys.
Should have announced it that early. Still their fault.
I don't really mind it when games are announced like years,
this is a Kickstarter game
in advance.
Oh, wait, is this a Kickstarter game? No, so this is not a Kickstarter game. So they did not need to develop anything. They had a publisher. They had their funding. They should not have announced it until they knew they were ready to release it. They were already developing it. They knew that it was difficult. They shouldn't have released it.
Well, there was originally a 2015 release date, but because of the animation process taking so long and it's being so difficult, that's what took the extra time. And I'm glad they took the extra time because it looks
Good.
great.
There's no excuse.
I have no complaints
There's no
over
excuse.
it.
I'm sure it's a great game.
Oh, come on.
Don't announce your games 4 years early.
They could have released it 2 years ago and it would have been broken. And then it wouldn't have been as successful as it is.
Then they should have just announced it 2 years ago and say, hey, it's going to come out in 2 years.
They didn't know that, though. It's just a simple mistake, and shit, this game's going to take longer than we thought. Oh, well.
I still think...
I think you're being
I don't
overly
think
harsh.
there's any excuse. I hate games that announce themselves that early. I think it is terrible. Because I was excited for the game. I don't care about the game anymore. It does not exist to me.
Well, you're one of the few people that aren't excited.
It's cool.
about it.
I'll watch it. I just don't think that I hate it as a trend in gaming when it happens every once in a while. You should never announce your game if it's more than 2 years from release. Ever.
Well, that's why they announced it. They thought it was going to come out 2 years later.
I can't believe that,
They did exactly what
they
you wanted.
knew
And then it just took longer.
was that
They
hard
go,
to
we're
make.
not going to... No, they made a conscious decision to not release a broken game. Would you rather them release the broken game and just to appease your time
We're ready
frame?
to release. Just like Bethesda's
You're
been
not
doing.
fucking
No, I am.
listening to
Even
me.
look at Bethesda. They made Fallout 4. And you go into the freaking dev diaries, lots of issues, but they decided they are not going to announce it until they are ready to release it. That is what games should be.
And it still came out broken.
It's a Bethesda game.
Yeah. Bethesda likes doing that.
Still, don't announce your games until they are ready to be released. That way there is an expectation and there is a release.
Oh my god, Drew.
No, I'm making an example. This is important. I'm just saying.
You're literally ignoring everything that came out with the game. They had the game in its initial stages. They had a time frame. It was going to release in 2015. When the dates got closer to the game, they go, it's going to take longer than we thought. And they said as much. They had articles go, this is taking a long fucking time. And you're still griping about the fact that they, in your time frame that you wanted,
same
they
thing
announced
with Mighty
it.
Number 9. Fuck that. I'm a hater. Yes, I am. So you're going to announce your game.
You're griping on the most minute
thing
possible.
Besides that, looks really pretty. Boss mechanics are cool.
Oh my god. So, into the game itself.
The fucking randomized attacks on those bosses are not okay. You may talk now, JD.
From someone who hasn't even played it.
This is I'm leaving. You know my Twitter. I'm out. That's it.
So the game focuses on Cuphead and Mugman, and they basically go into a gambling place, and the devil ropes them in. So now their souls are on the line, and they're like, "No, don't take our souls." And the devil goes, "All right, well, I have some runaways. Go beat them, take their souls, and get their contracts, and give them to me." That's the whole game, and you're playing. All these runaways are boss battles. Okay, it's just one screen. Occasionally you get a plane level that will move from left to right, but it still seems to be in your one screen kind of deal. And it's a shooter, much along the lines of a Contra type game. Contra boss battles, Contra like. Even there's the occasional run and gun level. I believe there's 2 per stage, so there's 6 total because there's 3 worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 2 run and gun stages, much like Contra. But if you die at any point in these levels, you have to start over. That's what makes those so difficult. I've been stuck on one for the last couple days. I can't seem to beat it. What you can do is you have an easy mode and then a standard mode. You can only get the contracts of the bosses playing on standard mode. If you play on the easy mode, you can beat the boss and move on to the rest of that particular world, but you can't advance until you beat it on the harder level.
Right.
So that brings a big mode of difficulty into it. Now, what you were bad about was the randomized
I was
boss
kind of
fighting
looking
mechanics.
into this game just kind of in prep for the cast, and one thing I keep hearing everybody gripe about, and I think he's terrible, is that, yes, there is, you have a boss that he has new attack powers, and okay, so now there's this, and he's getting better, and it makes the boss fight harder. But this game has this thing where each time you play it, all the attacks that the boss has are completely randomized and comboable. So I've been watched times where this boss just comes out with these multiple attacks at the same time that are just downright unfair. You can't, nothing to do. And where these people, you play the boss like 20 times, super, super hard, and then it randomizes, and the boss is super easy for once, just because it chooses a super easy to evade attack pattern. I think that is completely bad, and that takes away the entertainment of a boss battle and kind of overcoming that challenge, because it's just completely random, and you don't know. I think your game has to be.
I have definitely experienced some of these moments, for sure. There's a boss called Rumor Honeybee, or Rumor Honeycomb Bee, or something.
I won't.
Oh my god, that one was ridiculous. And yeah, I did have to. The only time I beat it was when it got into this plane mode and it didn't use its stupid uppercut plane attack, because you have to get on the same level plane to be able to shoot him, but once that attack is initialized at all in any way, because it'll always be trying to punch where you are, you're dead, or you have to hope you have at least one damage peg.
Right. The thing about boss fights that make them so rewarding is that there are these powerful AIs that have these abilities, and you learn them, and you learn to overcome and be better than them. You can't do that here. You just fight.
I disagree. So, like I said, there have been instances where there are unavoidable combos, but after playing a boss enough times and you see each of these different attack patterns, that you learn that, because everything is telegraphed still.
Yep.
Okay? Even when these attacks are coming, you do know which one is going to come, and if it's one of the easier ones, then you know to dodge it, or know how to dodge it, or even what will come afterwards.
Right.
Upon playing that enough times, you will get good enough to no matter what ends up happening, you do have some sort of ability to dodge. And there's even leveling systems in here, and by that means you get coins on the run and gun levels.
Right.
And you go to the shop, which is basically Porky Pig with an eye patch.
I saw that.
Which is really cool. Yeah. And you need to use these coins in order to get different attacks, or different special abilities, and then different supers. And no, you don't buy the supers. You buy the like a shield or dodge type situation. So you have to. Each boss has things that they're like. It's easier to attack them with certain things, such as this one's with the spread shot. This one's with the with these like boomerang hoops. This one's just with the regular shooter, and you can combo these things in different ways, and then combo them that, like, maybe this boss has so many attack patterns that you want that extra heart piece, or maybe this one has. It's easier to dodge if I just have the smoke screens specialty. So, and that's how I ended up beating the honeybee one, was the smoke ability. Yeah. But I was so stubborn and getting so frustrated that I didn't want to change the abilities and mix and match them.
You shouldn't be locked to using certain items in the game. You should be able to use the items at hand to try and go through something. And again, it's still completely randomized, which takes away the learning. You can't learn to overcome. You just got to do your best.
No, I was learning to overcome. So you first learn the patterns, then you learn what weapons will work on them. Then once you get those together, then you can start dodging and beating them, and then that's where the frustration comes in with, hopefully I don't get this combo of attack from the boss. And that kind of ramps up the difficulty to a ridiculous level. Yes, I would agree. And that's why it's taking me days to just beat a certain boss, or a couple days to beat a certain run and gun section. That is a problem. It's very rage-inducing for sure. Luckily, the game does have this feeling that you can beat every level as long as you persevere. You know, you get the stubbornness to you. You can do it. It's not game breaking by any means. It's just that particular 2-minute span where you're like, shit.
Right.
That was bullshit. The music is fantastic.
Yeah, I've definitely I've heard some of the music and it's good.
Oh my god, the 1930s music is amazing with the whole pianos and
Yeah. Well, anything else?
So fun
for Cuphead.
I haven't beaten the game yet. I've been stuck on World 3 for days and days.
Next month.
Maybe next month I can say I finally beat it, but I'm definitely gonna be looking at Axiom Verge and Titan Souls here
really
coming up, and I'll probably be buying a Hat in Time. Yeah.
All right.
Are you gonna end up getting Cuphead? Because I know some people that just got frustrated
I'm sure.
with it.
I'm gonna wait for it on sale. You know, that's the game I will get on sale. I have no doubt that game's probably going to end up on like Xbox Live for free or PS Plus for free at some point in time.
It won't be on PlayStation.
Well, you know, I'll play it at some point when it's cheap.
Yeah, I got it on Steam because I don't like Xbox. It's only $20 Canadian now, so it's already very affordable.
Yeah, but I'm not even going to spend that much money.
Because I was expecting this game to come out.
I
was expecting this game to come out at like $40.
It goes down on Steam for like $4 or $5, maybe $3. I'll get it. That's not really going to put much money past that. So,
yeah, it's definitely not an easy game. There is much to be angry about, but it is. I think the uniqueness and how fun it is overcomes those rage-inducing moments.
Okay, cool. Alrighty.
Yeah,
I will keep that in mind.
So that was episode 2 of the Red Leaf Gamecast.
The not pilot episode.
Did you have fun, Drew?
I did. It was fun. It was definitely fun.
We somehow talked longer this month than last month.
It was so hot in this apartment. I can't wait to turn on my AC. We talked longer this month because we didn't actually start talking about the games until 45 minutes into the podcast. So.
Sure. We had a lot more to discuss. A lot more to catch up on, I suppose.
And then next month we're going to be doing the October What's coming out this month that we're going to be playing? Like what do you think we're going to talk about next month?
Oh my god, October. Yeah. October is Odyssey, Forza 7, GT Sport with VR, South Park's coming out, Assassin's Creed Origins, WWE 2K18. I don't think we'll go into too much over that, but we'll definitely highlight on it. So, yeah, we're trying to get like 6 games a month, or as much as come out. I did a little November outlook. November and December are looking slim pickings. November's Call of Duty,
Battlefront,
Horizon Zero Dawn, Frozen Wilds DLC expansion that I'll be definitely getting because I love Horizon Zero Dawn, Sonic Forces, Need for Speed Payback, and Star Wars Battlefront. December, there's only 3 that I've seen so far. That's this is where it's getting desperate. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Steep Road to the Olympics, and Pray for the Gods.
So, like, exactly what we're looking at.
But October's looking stacked. October's going to break my wallet.
Here we go, June.
So I'll be getting GT Sport. I'll be getting Assassin's Creed. I'll be getting a Mario Odyssey.
Really? October.
And then I have a friend who's getting South Park. And
I'll my goodness,
him.
There's more than you're talking about.
So I'll play with him.
Yeah.
What, in October?
Middle Earth Shadow of War is coming out.
Why not? We're not talking about that. We'll
Evil Within 2 is coming out. Really?
We might do Evil Within 2 instead of WWE.
Axiom Verge is coming out, yeah. Fire Emblem Warriors is coming out. Destiny 2 is going to hit PC. I'm curious to see what the reception of that is. Wolfenstein 2 is also coming out.
So there'll be games we'll be mentioning, but I think there's only so much time we have to talk about games.
So November through December, the games we're going to have World War II. Dot Hack has a new game? Interesting. The Horizon Zero Dawn, Sonic Forces. Xbox One X is coming out. We might do a little segment on that as well. Yeah, you got Need for
sure,
Speed,
sure,
Mario Party, the Top 100 on the 3DS, Sims, L.A. Noire. That's right, L.A. Noire is coming to the Switch. Yes.
I suppose we can
have
go
you
over
played that game?
I'm not
Have
too.
you played
I'm
that
not too
game?
excited.
Good.
Yes,
I
played it.
love
It's
that
okay.
game. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, Rhyme is coming out on the Switch, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon for Pokemon, Skyrim VR, Skyrim, The Impatient, that's a horror game, Resident Evil Revelations re-release on Switch, Black Mirror, Doom VR, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is coming out here in December.
I said as much.
A new one. Dead Rising 4 is coming out? Okay. Big package. Yeah,
I thought that was already out.
Again. Okami HD. New Resident Evil 7. Monopoly's coming out on the Switch. Can't wait for that. Zero Time Dilemma is coming out on the PS4. Super Beat Sports on the Switch. Can't wait for that. Doom is coming out in December for the Switch. Rocket League for the Switch. And PUBG for the Xbox One.
Yeah. So there's definitely games out on the horizon, but October's a heavy month. So I'm quite excited. And I'll be freshly moved into my new place in Rhode Island.
Coming out this year. We don't have an official release this year for it, but Agony is announced for this fall. I'm really curious to see what that's going to be. And
anyways,
is also released is also tilted for this year, and the new Ori and the Blind Forest is also tilted for this fall. So
yeah, a lot of re-releases, which we probably won't go.
None of those that I just mentioned are re-releases.
Ori and the Blind Forest.
The new one, yeah.
Talking
the
about
Will
the
of the
second
Wisp.
one or the
Okay. The game I'm gonna freak the hell out about. So
this has been episode 2 of the Red Leaf Gamecast. You can find us at iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, if the algorithm actually lets the episode go up.
You never know.
Overcast, TuneIn Radio, and more.
Websites are.
You can find. They're just places you can find the podcast, man. You can also find a more or less raw file on YouTube at Musenspiel and VidMe of the same name.
Musenspiel.
If you just Google Red Leaf Retrocast,
can also
Musenspiel
Bing
comes up
and Yahoo
also on all these sites.
Yep.
Right. You know what?
Something I want to just mention that we haven't played. You can
contact us.
By the way, that we said we would talk about this month. Super Mario 64 Online. I have the launcher.
I didn't play it.
I haven't played it yet, though.
Yeah, I played Mario 64 in the 90s.
I want to play with Waluigi.
And it's very good.
On a 24-person server.
So that's out as well. You can contact me at BowlingJD on Twitter. Where can they find you? Because you changed your Twitter.
Got copyrighted, but you can get it. If you want to DM me on Twitter, I can probably set you up a Google Drive and get you the launcher. Just don't tell anybody. My Twitter is at Boogadaball, and BOOGIDABALL. Boogadaball.
Alrighty. I will also put that in the description of the podcast. It's not that hard to spell.
It spells how it sounds, right?
And if you're into anime at all, you can go check out the anime podcast that we do here on the Red Leaf Retrocast over Retro Ones, and Retro Game Themes with Kevin and Josh, and possibly a fourth member coming in, which should be a lot of fun.
I might show up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Never mind.
If you're interested,
if I'm interested, no. I'm keeping an eye on the
welcome.
topic. So there's a topic I'm like, I actually feel like, because again, I'm only 18, so I haven't seen the world like these men. If there's something that I'm like, I can tune in on that, because I'm not going to enter a podcast unless I feel like I have a voice there, And so
True facts.
I don't have a voice on that weird like Sega Genesis game that gave Kevin his first boner, So.
Oh boy. Well, thank you all for joining us. What game that we covered do you think we should put the music on at the beginning and end here?
I think definitely a Cuphead.
I feel like you want definitely your Destiny 2 music to start.
Tune and definitely a Destiny. I think.
All right. So how about this? Cuphead beginning,
that
Destiny
sounds great.
end.
Because if you find like the main Destiny theme, like that stuff's pretty good. All right,
we'll do.
Thanks for joining
us, guys.
JD. Have a good day, everybody.